Afternoon, everybody. Evening, everybody. Morning, everybody. It's Arsenal Fan Circle here, and it's the Thursday night forum. Welcome, as Gary would say. Welcome, Gary. How are you?
Doing good. How you doing?
Doing okay. We're looking forward to a summer. Welcome, Gary. How are you? Summer of transfers, the summer of the Euros. Stan, how are you doing?
Yeah, I've got a bit of a bad back as usual. The fight with the bad back continues, but other than that, not bad.
All right, so you're a late fitness check for. Let's just say Mikel Arteta will not be calling you up for a possible transfer.
Yeah,
I do.
Yeah, I'm in the Thomas Partey camp.
You're in the Benjamin White camp. You'll be declining all of the Southgate overtures for the Euros. No, Gareth, I'm good. How are you, Lawrence?
Well, all right. I've just been watching the National Spelling Bee. God, this country gets excited over everything, don't they? I can't believe it. 11, 12-year-old kids in a national spelling competition, and they're treating it like the World Cup final.
Yeah, well, they can spell better than we can, Lawrence, right?
Yeah, but they say tomato, we say tomato.
Potato, right?
We say leisure, they say leisure.
There's lots of things. A biscuit is a cookie. All of these things.
Yeah.
A crisp is a chip.
A rubber is an eraser. Means something.
Yeah, left is the elevator. You guys got it all wrong.
When I take my dog for a walk, I usually put it on the lead, but for some reason they have a leash.
Yeah.
My favorite is we say aluminium, they say aluminum.
Oh yeah, I was talking about that today. Aluminum and aluminium. Yeah.
We put dead bodies in the boot of the car. They put them in the trunk.
This could go downhill quick. This is an Arsenal podcast. Yes, it is. You have tuned into the right station, right? Okay. Gary, Arsenal journey counts with success delayed. The journey counts, Gary. We didn't win a trophy this season, but I think we've looked at, okay, I'm gonna dip into my Liverpool locker again, right? We've seen a Klopp era. We've seen a Klopp era come to an end, and they're
where's the Arnie Slot t-shirt?
Right behind here, right there on the back.
Your Liverpool locker is more of a Liverpool TARDIS. It's bigger on the inside than it is on the out.
They've come to the end of their time. We're starting the beginning of ours. So, we have to enjoy each and every weekend. If you were just going to enjoy a day out at Wembley, it would just be a day out, winning an FA Cup, albeit being a trophy. I believe that you can have a good season, and you can have a good season in the league, and you can have a good season winning a trophy. But it's much more fraught with ups and downs, the old roller coaster, Gary. So, we've had a good season with Mikel Arteta.
Yeah. Oh, it's it is a journey, and was it the destination or the journey?
Yeah,
Arteta likes the destination, likes the journey, I guess. Or actually, he probably would have turned it around on him anyways. I think he was just going to catch Lacazette out, but because they're both important. But I think right now we are on this journey to some destination, but we don't know what it is. Hopefully, it's a big trophy, one of the two of the biggest that we can win. So yeah. So far, so good, but we have to get somewhere soon, right? Even if it's not, as they say, shoot for the moon or shoot for the stars and hit the moon kind of thing. We need to do something like that.
Yeah. Stan, I know you've enjoyed this season, and I know you've enjoyed this season before. So, Lacazette had the wrong answer. What kind of answer do you have?
What I mean, Lacazette had the wrong answer. What did he?
Well, Mikel Arteta asked him if it was the journey or the destination.
Okay, yeah, I remember that. The destination is always good, right? If you end up at the place that you want to do, but you could have a nice journey on the way. You know, you want to, okay, you can win the league, right, playing Route 1 football and winning just 1-0, and you win the league. But it's nice to have a little bit more than that in your game, and maybe win a few games, 5 or 3, and have some tight games and get a last-minute winner. It does make the journey a lot more exciting. But at the end of the day, in football, it's what you get at the end of it is what we all want. We all want something tangible. We all want to be able to raise a trophy. And for me, the FA Cup is still a very prestigious trophy for me.
Yep.
And even though we've got 14, I really want us to get one more. I think 15 is a rounder number. I don't want us to sit on 14. I want that 15th one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. United have pulled one behind us, Lawrence, on 13 now in the FA Cup stakes, and we've got 14. And the FA Cup might be a bit of a theme we're going to talk about a little bit later as well. But what are your thoughts on the journey, Lawrence? You never make predictions, Lawrence, but I'm going to predict you might have enjoyed this season.
Well, if we had won something, I would have enjoyed it. But how many times have we seen this movie? You don't get anything for finishing second. And I'm sorry if people disagree with me, but I'm just being upfront. It was a good season, but did we win anything? No, we didn't. And as I said, we're now coming into the 5th year of this process. And what have we got to show for it? Just one FA Cup. So I'm still not convinced, what we do in the summer transfer window is going to make me decide whether or not Arteta is the man for the job. Because at the end of the day, it's all about winning trophies. That's what you're judged on. It doesn't matter how well you play. If you do not end up with a trophy of any sort in the cabinet, then it's been a waste of time. And it's all well and good people say, oh, well, we can see a marked improvement in the team. Yeah, but we haven't won anything for 4 years. So unless he pulls off a league title, an FA Cup win, a Carabao Cup win or a Champions League win, then I'm sorry, he's got to go at the end of the new season. I said he would have to leave if we didn't win anything this season. And he's still around. But as I said, he's got to win something. And as I said, until he does, the jury is still out with me.
The time is now, Stan. I see you shaking your head.
Lawrence,
next season.
Lawrence, you're really lucky that I can't find a pen right now. That's all I'm going to say. I'm penniless. Right? I'm looking around. I'm outside. I'm like, where's that fucking pen? But the reason I'm disagreeing with Lawrence is because if you make a comparison to say one of the probably the best Premier League manager that we've had so far, Alex Ferguson, in 5 years he won an FA Cup, and he didn't win it in the first year like Mikel Arteta did. He won that FA Cup in that 5th year. Yep. So could you imagine if that was today? There'd probably be United fans up in the 4th year going, "Get rid of this guy. This guy is useless." Yep. And when he won that, FA Cup, hold on. When he won that FA Cup in the 5th year, he didn't automatically win shit stuff in year 6. There was another gap until he won the league.
Yeah.
So it was a very slow process, but for some reason there was patience, and I think that Mikel Arteta, in the same space of time, he's won the same amount as what Alex Ferguson did, but he done it in his first year. Now, I would love us to win something next year, but it's all about the manner of how we go through the season. If we don't win anything next year and we finish 3rd, then that's going to be a big step backwards. But if we go toe to toe with Man City again, the machine, and we come 2nd and we're only 1 point behind them, and we don't have any other trophies to show for it, but maybe we got to a semi-final or what have you. We got to the quarterfinals of the Champions League, or maybe a semi-final this time. I'm not going to be asking for his head. I'm not going to be asking for his head, because you can't put a limit on it like that. Like, if it ain't this year, it's, I use Alex Ferguson as that model. By today's standards, we would never have seen him.
But why are we comparing ourselves to Man United and Alex Ferguson. See,
Because
this is what I
when it
don't
comes
get.
to winning, because when it comes to winning, I tell you why. Because when it comes to winning league trophies, FA Cups, and what have you, thus far he is the standard bearer, right?
He did it all. Yeah.
Well, then,
He is the standard bearer.
well, then you've got to say, well, Pep Guardiola won the league, didn't win anything in his first season at the club, and he's won everything since then. So
But
you know.
But there's
I was going to say why are we comparing Arteta to any of these top managers
Exactly.
in the first place? So if you're not going, exactly, you're not
The reason I'm doing
you're not going to like what I say
Lawrence
next. Then, so if we're not comparing him to some of the best that ever lived, then he's doing all right, because there's a lot of managers with 10, 20 years of experience that haven't even come this close. All right. They have not come this close. They have not had back-to-back seasons of challenging and being in a position to take the lead, right? So I will always go back to that. Which one? Why we're comparing him? It's apples and oranges.
David Moyes.
It's apples and oranges, and it's never and he'll never win that one. So why are we trying? And you know what? The team decided to go down this route. So either you're on board with what the team is doing, or you're going to be disappointed, right? Because it's not going to work out. It's not going to go as fast as you want. And I hinted to you guys on the weekend kind of my thoughts of what happens in the season. Stan brought it up. You know, what if we end up not getting a trophy again? All right.
Yeah.
Is it still we need to fire him or not? It all, there's context to everything. All right. We are still not competing on four fronts. So until you tell me we're competing on four fronts, I can't ever say, you know what, we're there where we want to be. We don't have a squad. We
don't have a squad to compete on four fronts. That's why
we could go and have a poor year like United did, and then they got lucky. I'm sorry, they have got lucky. I wish Arteta and them got lucky. Right.
Well, we did it in the semifinal against City in 2017.
No, but I'm talking about they didn't play City in the semifinals.
2020
to get to their FA Cup, right?
We did. We played City.
No. United did not play City to get City and Liverpool in the same week. Remember that? We played both of them in the same week, and we're able to compete in those games.
Yep.
So so I kind of feel like. Still asking a lot out of a manager in his, going on to completing his fifth. I guess in 6 months it'll be his fifth year of coaching anything. So I don't know. It's almost like asking a player who you can see has got talent, why they're not competing with the likes of Messi and Ronaldo. That's basically what we're doing right now. So unless you tell me Arteta is experienced like any other manager in this position. Right, I don't believe that's true. So, I don't want to. That's kind of how I see it. If Arsenal went down a different route and brought in a manager with 10+ years experience, like for example, say they brought in Ange would get a short leash. He's won trophies wherever he's gone. You would expect something similar when he comes to a team like Arsenal with the players that we had. So I kind of feel like our hands are tied a little bit because of experience and whatnot. And but we're getting close. I fear we could compete in all four fronts and nobody's going to like it because it won't end up in a trophy. You know what I mean? We could make it to semis and finals and finish in the top 2-3 of the league. Maybe hopefully make it to the semis of a Champions League. And come up short again. It's because we are thin. So I don't know. We look at what I always say. I go by what I see, and we're not deep enough to win games in domestic cups, right?
No,
right.
Yeah.
Unless we go with our starters, and we can't go with our starters. We have to not necessarily sacrifice, but we have to.
I think
switch our players around a little bit. So hello everybody in the chat. And,
let's catch up to the people in the chat. Good call. Steven's in the house. Arsenal show over here. We had 38 games of mostly joy. United had 1 game of joy and 38 of pure misery in the league. Hello, everyone from BX Gunner. 3 more
Yes.
years of Arteta. We'll talk about the contract talks, but I did a very, very small poll, so we have to go with Sesko first. I blame Chelsea with Roman and the merry-go-round the managers that has poisoned football. Too many are unrealistic and think they know better than Arteta. Lolo's in the house and on the stoop.
Lolo.
What's up, boys? Go check that out tomorrow night, right? Tomorrow night.
Happy hour.
On the stoop,
Tomorrow
happy
night,
hour.
yeah.
Morning, guys, all the way from Australia. Tiger and Gunnar. All the loyal ones are here with us on Thursday night. It's a little bit of a cult show here on Thursday night. A little bit edgy on a Thursday night. Nice and right, Stan, the man, Gary, Larry,
How you doing,
no
Moss?
Alonso. He was lots of Lawrence. No Alonso. He's hanging with Moss Sports. Okay, last night. Okay, Alonso moonlighting.
He's getting stuff out there, man.
Out there moonlighting, Alonso.
He's going out there. He's going to the clubs, dancing with, whoever he can find. Good job.
I wondered why he was buying all the drinks when I saw him. He's getting moonlighting, isn't he?
Yeah.
Alonso, his ears will be ringing. He'll be in. We'll see Alonso soon. Look, as Stan said, Alec Ferguson, people forget, and Lawrence will remember this, people forget Alec Ferguson and the disasters of Gary Pallister when he first arrived at Manchester United, making mistakes left, right, and centre. Viv Anderson had to go to United to try to stabilize them a little bit in 87. And Alec Ferguson was going into a third round of an FA Cup game. His job was on the line that day, I remember. And if they hadn't won, I think it was Nottingham Forest, he would have been sacked probably. So, and who knows what we all know what happened after that, right? Probably altered the course of Manchester United's history. And they've been waiting for how long was it, Lawrence and Stan? How long were Manchester United waiting for that Premier League? It was years and years. It was decades that they were waiting when they eventually got the Premier League under Alec Ferguson. Had to be in the 60s when they'd won before Manchester United.
But we should, like I said, Ray, we shouldn't be comparing ourselves to any other club. We should just be looking at ourselves.
I'm not really.
I
I understand that, Lawrence. I'm not really comparing. We're looking at periods of history that seem to repeat themselves throughout time. Cycles.
I mean, you only have to look at some of the clubs that are looking for managers now, and there seems to be a lot of them. When you hear about the names that are being mentioned, it does seem that they're choosing to try and mirror the image that our owners have gone in. But, big clubs picking managers that have come from a really small club, or in some cases, the one that's going to Chelsea, he's been a coach, right? He hasn't managed before.
With Guardiola.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a very similar thing that's happening, And when Mikel Arteta first signed his first contract for Arsenal, he signed it as a head coach, and then after a short while, they changed his title to manager. Now, if you look at the other way, Unai Emery has just recently signed a new contract with Aston Villa, and his title has gone from manager to head coach. So it shows you the ways that clubs are working. Whereas Mikel Arteta, he and Edu will work on the players together that they want. In how they're going to work, for example, at Man United, whoever becomes the coach there, the manager will say, I'm looking for a right back. And then they will present him with a list of 3 or 4 right backs who they suggest. And he'll get to speak and maybe help choose one of those. But he's not going to be able to go to the board and say, I need 105 million for a Declan Rice. And they go, okay, here you go. That's what you need because you're the manager. You know what's best. It's a very different model.
Yeah.
I think this is why Chelsea are looking at some of these younger names, people that have just come up, people that haven't managed before, Look at Vincent Kompany. I mean, people say, well, he done really well in the Championship with Burnley and brought them up. Didn't Sean Dyche do the same thing with the same club? When he brought them up, he kept them up for longer. So why doesn't he get a look in at Bayern Munich? Because,
style of football,
because he's not Vincent Kompany.
Yeah.
He can't pull off a baseball cap as good as Vincent can.
That'll be interesting as well to see how Bayern Munich get on next season, and if Harry Kane can continue his excellent streak of scoring goals without trophies. I'm all about that for Harry Kane moving forward. But lack of experience, but I would feel that Mikel Arteta is gaining that experience now, and I feel the pressure that Lawrence is talking about of Arsenal needing to gather trophies now, and we got to come into a period of 3 to 5 years where we will start to dominate. And those who don't believe in Mikel Arteta, you have to just look at how driven he is, and he seems to have the ear of the owners, or the owners are giving him the backing. We went out and got Declan Rice last season. The owners are motivated. And
Quite haven't.
Yeah. The checkbook has been out in a sustainable way, and within financial fair play as well.
Unai Emery didn't want Nicolas Pepe, did he? He was presented with him. It's a different way of working. They didn't believe in him like they did with Mikel Arteta. When Arteta started, he had the same title, head coach.
Whether that's fair or not.
He wanted Zaha from Crystal Palace.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. It's basically, the other clubs like Chelsea, it's like if you're at the circus and it's your job to work with the bears and tigers, they are turning up and going, here's the bears, here's the tigers, teach them some tricks. Teach them some tricks now. Whereas Mikel Arteta is choosing the animals and he's telling them what tricks to play. He's in control.
Mm-hmm. And the last 2 seasons have shown us a beautiful way of playing football that, to me, maybe I'm biased, I don't know. To me, it looks much better than a brand Manchester City's putting out or any other team is playing with a style of football.
One last thing about style of football, Manchester United have hired the director of football, Jason Wilcox. You remember him as a player. He used to play for Blackburn, didn't he, Jason Wilcox?
Yeah, Wilcox, yeah.
But it's his job to dictate the style of play. So the manager who comes into Man United is going to be told, this is how we play football. That doesn't happen with Mikel Arteta, I'm sure of it. Mikel Arteta is with his whiteboard and he's developing all that shit. He hasn't got Edu's not telling him how to play, how the team should play. Very different.
Yeah, and I saw a stream earlier, or some documentary. I think, I'm not going to say who it was because I'll just get slagged off for favoring a second team.
Well, we already know. You might as well just say. We assume it's your favorite team, so go ahead and moonlight.
It was like
Arsenal fan, so that's all right. We get it.
I really am an Arsenal fan. I really am. I want to tell.
Based on what you inferred,
yeah,
I would say
I'm just playing it up now, Gary, to the fans, to the viewers.
I think that came off pretty smooth. I don't even think you hesitated.
They basically said your style of play is somehow dictated by the players you have. So you modify your style of play to the talents that the players you have. You buy a Ben White and he presents some things to you. You buy an Odegaard and you have a Martinelli or a Saka already in the team. That kind of dictates the way you want to play. And then you have some players like Declan Rice who can do a little bit of everything and fill in the gaps behind. So what are your thoughts on that, Gary?
I believe a good coach is someone who can take what he's given and get them to play in a style. If you're going to tell, for me, for example, if you're going to tell a manager they have to play a certain style, but then they only have, say, it's your first year, and they only have 5 players that can play that style, it's going to be a little challenging.
Tough
to get them to play the style. That at some point they need to coach the players they got, and you're never going to be perfect, and you're never going to, unless you can cookie cutter cut the same players twice. You're always up for we're going to have to change things around when players come in and out of the lineup. So I think you need to be a good coach who can coach up anybody, put them in particular places on the pitch. So that's the first thing. So I think I don't necessarily agree that the teams can dictate the style of play because you're not hiring a manager. If that's the case, you can just hire anybody and say this is the style of play we want to have, and then let them go. there's something that like the best teams have managers that do certain things that's applicable to them, right? I think I think that's where you have to go. Either you find somebody who's young and they have a style and you're like, okay, we want to build with that. That's what Arteta is, right?
Implement it.
Or you have a seasoned player manager, and they come in, and no matter the best players you get for them, the better your team will be. I mean, you saw it with Klopp, you saw it with City, right? You saw it with the old United teams, right?
Yeah.
They had world-class players on their pitch. So if you don't give a team world-class players, you don't necessarily get the big wins. That seems to be the way this thing works, right? When's the last time you went, all right, that was a team of non-world-class players, and they went out there and played better than a team with the world-class players? It's rare. It's rare that happens. So I kind of feel like it's a I don't necessarily believe that the teams could to dictate the style of play without actually giving you all the players from the start, because you're going to have to play with players
and the natural talents of the players as well. Sassi said Chelsea literally said they need to be more like Arsenal with Arteta for this Maresca signing. All clubs jealous of positions that we are in now. Sent out how we have 4 players in the top 20 most valuable players in the world. I've seen Erdegaard is now valued at over 100 million, although I don't know if Tony will rubber stamp that or not, and none were Declan Rice either. So, the players that have been identified are over 100 million. This manager and team are growing and blossoming together, BX Gunner said. And listen, 4 or 5 seasons now, I think we're getting to the point where Mikel Arteta is capable of, bringing those trophies in, Lawrence. And it's got to be all of those trophies you mentioned as well. Across 4 fronts, we're not going to do a quadruple, right? But we need to be in a period where we can win the next 3 or 4 years. We can win each and every one of those trophies and really have a go again at the Champions League as well. Ken Gunners here named the top 4 most valuable players we have. 2 are in the top 10 as well. I'll have a go with it. I know Odegaard was one of them. Saliba maybe is the other, and Bukayo Saka the third. Who would be the 4th? Not Declan Rice, right? Another one, most valuable players.
I'm sure Martinelli's value has gone up from what he was valued when he came in the club as well.
Tony's ready to sell. Martinelli. That's one of his hot takes. Company is going into a very dangerous position for his career, said Stephen. I agree with that. But when you get a chance as a manager to manage a historic club like Bayern Munich, you kind of have to go for it. You know what I mean? It's going to be on his resume then. If it goes bad, it will take years to rehabilitate his career. He does have players there that should be hungry to bounce back after the Euros in Germany as well. Most City and Real Madrid players and us. No Liverpool, no Chelsea's. Okay. Right on, Jose. And Saka, Odegaard, Saliba, and Rice. Okay. How long were they saying, what's Arteta's style? Yeah. Or what's Kai Havertz's position? There's a lot of that, though, isn't there, Lawrence? When you're not playing well, everybody questions, what's the style? Because you don't see it when they're not playing well.
Yeah.
All right.
Exactly.
All right, so I did a poll. It didn't get much votes, but the winner was Benjamin Sesko. So let's talk about Benjamin Sesko. All the talk. Stan, I'll go to you first. You were worried about Rashford after the FA Cup final. But, that is just post-FA Cup final talk. They did probably reach out and talk to Marcus Rashford, but Sesko is the one on everybody's lips now.
Well, there's a couple of names, isn't there? There's the other one as well, Xerxes. He plays, I think, for Bologna. Dutch guy. That's another name. But I don't know too much about Benjamin Sesko, but I'm kind of getting the feeling that because of the emergence of Kai Havertz playing through the middle, it's probably made them pivot a little bit. Whereas rather than going and laying out up to maybe 100, maybe even more, on say an Isak, you can think, well, we're not as desperate. If Kai Havertz is taking up the slack, we can afford to maybe spend 50 to 60 on someone that isn't a project, but is maybe who'll take a little bit while to settle, hasn't played in the Premier League, is that little bit younger. You know, that you may have to nurture a little bit, and you know, it will take them a little time to hit the ground running. So I think that could be their way of thinking now, because Havertz is raising questions.
Yeah, Gary, you're happy about this? I mean, are you happy about this? Because I think what we're getting is another forward that we can plug and play with Benjamin Sesko. He's not going to get you 20 goals, but he could get you 15 in a season.
But that's not what we want either, right? I mean, we went through a whole season and we need to get a legitimate striker, and that was regardless. For me, that was regardless of what Kai Havertz brought to the table, because I still don't believe he's a striker. He might be a nice forward and stuff like that, but not a striker like what we're talking. Like whatever the traits are of a striker, Kai Havertz isn't that. You put Ollie Watkins in front of a goal with just a goalkeeper. How often do you go, I expect a goal? Well, how often do you go, I don't know if he's going to score here? You barely ever say that, all right? You barely ever say that, and we've seen it. We saw that, right? We saw that. We saw that this year. Right?
Between Ollie Watkins and say Timo Werner, when you see Timo Werner running towards the goal and there's no one else there just to keep up, do you ever think he's going to tuck that one away? You know it's not happening, right?
Yeah, so that's why I feel we need sure things in certain spots. One would be we need somebody clinical, right? Clinical. That's the one thing we don't have, and I don't. The Klesko kid looks good, but once again, that means we're it's a project again. Are we? And nobody believes he's going to start right away. They still think Kai Havertz will start while Sesko figures this thing out, right? I don't think when we first heard of Timber, I don't think anyone thought he was going to start, be able to be ready to start in the first game of the season. But he showed us some things, right? And he got to start. So we'll see what happens going forward here. But I think we need some guarantee. We need some guarantees based on experience, performance, and the ability to click in the Premier League, right? So we'll see. But like I said, there's only two players. There's only really one. There's probably two players, and it sounds like they're both unavailable, right? Watkins and Isak are like, yes, they come in, we'll be fine, right? Everybody else, there's a question mark. Is Tony actually back yet? Will he be back? Osimhen, will he be able to make it? Fit into the league as soon as we need him to.
Is Tony actually back?
Right. So, like I said, I think we need to be able to hit it. If we can't, yes, if we take in a Sesko, then
Isak.
Isak, I think, is off.
He's the one.
He's not on our. No, you know how you talked about shopping at Harrods, right?
He's the one.
You have to go somewhere higher than Harrods to get him. Right.
He's the chosen one.
And I think BX's comment there is spot on about Havertz. What he says there.
Havertz is the Emil Heskey to Michael Owen.
Spot on.
He's going to tuck a few away. He's going to do some good things, but he ain't no Michael Owen. And that's what we want. We want a Michael Owen.
Are we going to upset the apple cart if we get a proven striker in the
That's
club?
like saying don't get Rice because it might upset somebody. Come on, we're not doing that anymore. We don't have time for that.
Don't want to upset Thomas Partey in any way.
No. When we bring in players, it's going to change things around because we're supposed to be getting better each time.
We want to win the fucking league, Ray. So we can't keep these fuckers around. We have to move.
It's not even keeping people. It's like the question was, do we want to upset people? And guess what?
No, the apple cart. No,
what apple cart? Did Rice upset the apple cart? Did Timber upset the apple cart? Did Raya?
What I'm saying is, if you go to a proven striker like a Haaland, you're going to modify the way you're playing your football and feed everything through that one
Of
player.
course, you're not changing away when somebody can tuck away 50
If
goals
you
a
get
season,
a
right?
world-class player, yes, we're not buying any world-class players that I know of
I mean,
right now.
Ray,
Mikel Arteta loves turning over apple carts. He goes out specifically looking for apple carts just to turn over. Because if he didn't, we'd still have Mesut Ozil and Aubameyang. And
Is this an apple? Yes.
I'm turning the fucker over.
I mean, are you not playing on 3 full matches, Ray? I mean, are you benching him? Are you benching on Ray if you got him around with this 32
Thierry
goals?
Henry?
Yeah, he'll give us 30. He'll give us 32 goals. So, I mean, of course you're gonna set a 40 goal guy.
All right, fair enough.
Whatever happened to Vlahovic and Osimhen?
You think Osimhen will be is Isak is better than Isak?
It's whatever Romano's talking about. If Romano stopped talking about him, so you know.
Why do we care what he thought? He didn't talk about Timber. He didn't talk about Timber. I mean, we like what we saw there.
He's missing out on more and more of these players now.
Here's the lesson.
With different agents.
We could have had
with agents that he talks to.
We could have had Isak for about 65, but we weren't sure. You know, it was a gamble. We weren't sure. You know, is he going to adapt? Blah blah blah. He's shown that he has. Now we've got to pay for that. We've got to pay for that. We've got to pay up for that. Now that he's established, and he is the chosen one. When I watch him play, he's probably one of the closest players to me
Henry.
on the eye test. Reminds me of Henry.
Yeah.
He creates things out of nothing. He can be on the left, right on the byline, where the side netting is facing him, and there's 3 guys around him. And before you know what he's done, the little bastard's wriggled out and set someone up. He wriggles out and scores a goal. He creates stuff out of nothing. His link-up play, his pace. The only question mark is, does he have an injury, or has he just been unlucky up until now?
Well, the other question mark is Bruno. I think Bruno Guimaraes is going to go to Man City at the end of the day.
You don't want him because we are linked to him and we weren't linked to him.
No, I mean, if
you kill these guys, you're like, I want Yuri.
Release clause now.
I want Yuri, but I won't sign Yuri on a free. That would improve us.
You've got until the end of June to trigger a release clause now, which means you can talk to him. But at the end of June, I think that release clause goes, and then it's when you're going to see people swoop in. So if you want him, if you really, really want him, just pay the money. Just
I think we're going to move
and get in.
Yeah, I think we're going to move fast. Then Mikel Arteta has proven in the last 2, 3, 4 seasons that we will go and get players quickly. We have had a preference for Premier League proven players, which would be Isak. He does play in the Premier League.
Why can't we be like Liverpool?
I didn't mention it. It wasn't me.
No, why can't we be like Liverpool or City and announce a player in March or April? Why can't we do business early?
We do our business early. Gone are the days of walking around with a trolley in the supermarket on the last day looking for bargains. And
what player from those teams was announced that early?
Yeah, who got announced?
Because the only team, the last team that I know
example, give us an example.
Chelsea,
there was that one, the midfielder.
And Cuckoo, right?
That's the
last time a team has announced a player early.
You got Kanate, you got Haaland, you got lots of these.
There was one, and Nabia for Liverpool. They announced him. What's his name? He hasn't hardly played for them. What's his name? Nabia and
Naby Keita.
Naby Keita. Remember, they got him and announced that early.
Yeah.
But what happened to him?
So it's not something that everybody does, right? Because I'm hearing like one player from each team in like the last 5 to 6 years. So like that's why nobody does it. You know why?
We don't do. Sorry.
Teams. I was just gonna say teams don't know where they're gonna be in 6 months, and the player doesn't know where he wants to be in 6 months. He might like always had his mind set on a particular team, and you know what? I'm just gonna wait a little bit, and that's what you see, right? In Spain and Italy, they're not rushing to sign anywhere because most of the time they're looking for a move up in that same country, in that same league. So Key difference as well. Mikel Arteta values pre-season, and he's always made a concerted effort to get players in so they can take part. Whereas under Arsene Wenger, we were signing players once the season started, and then we're just coming to the club. Them days are gone. We don't do that anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
And also on the Sesko thing, apparently he said that he's open for moves, but he would like, because the team that he's at will offer him a new contract, and he has said he'd like to move before the Euro competition starts. That's in 2 weeks.
Yeah,
I don't know if we can get that done in 2 weeks.
Well, things are going to happen fast. I think, Stan. I think we'll get somebody in before the Euros start. At least one player in.
Yeah, I heard a lot of people said that player is a goalkeeper, Raya or something like that. Yeah,
the Dutch one, Bilo.
No. Oh yeah, maybe him. Maybe him too.
We're usually only ever getting a sign in before.
What concerns me is that I read that Sesko says he prefers to come to Arsenal.
Yeah.
Which, if you remember, the last player to do that was Mudryk, and look what happened there.
It doesn't have to end up the same way, Lawrence. It doesn't have to end up the same way.
Oh, I've seen this movie before, Ray.
That's why you go from an 8-count box of crayons to a 16-count.
So the kid is 20. He's 20.
Even the crayons.
It's just 16
the
crayons
are coming out of them.
Tony, Sesko is 20 years old, 6'5". He's made the transition from Salzburg to RB Leipzig.
What's his nationality?
He is Slovenian.
Slovenian.
He will be. You can watch him in the Euros. Hopefully, we'll be watching him as an Arsenal player. I would not be against us acquiring this player for 45-50 million.
When Konrad Tonsky was Russian,
Comrade Tonsky,
he would like a Slovenian player. Cause
right, would you rather pay 45-50 for Sesko, or would you rather pay 95 million for Isak?
I would take Isak. I'm not going to lie, but I don't know if we're going to be able to deal with Newcastle, and Man City might actually alleviate them of Guimaraes and alleviate their financial fair play. They do not have to sell both players, you know.
I heard that Newcastle put like a 200 million asking price on him, something around that figure, not far from it, 170. Ridiculous number.
I thought it was 100.
They may well price themselves out of a move.
If it was 100, it would be sold.
City.
They don't want to sell him.
I doubt it's 100.
Yeah. Tony?
Yes.
I thought you were.
There you go. There you go. Moss says it there. 100 million for Bruno, and 100. That's his.
180 million for Isak.
There you go. Told you. They put up a really big price. That's the price.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that they won't fold, but that's what they're mouthing off to the public.
Yeah, they're gonna have to do something because they have to show their books. Unlike Man City, they have to show their books.
That's why Arsenal can't do what they did last time. They can't. Go ahead.
Isn't 100 million his release clause?
No, I don't think he has a release clause. Isak.
I thought Bruno.
Bruno has a release clause. Yeah.
I thought it was 100 million. Was this release clause?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Look, a Slovenian player.
It ends in June, though, doesn't it? Something that release clause ends in June.
It's like June. It's like
it
May.
Ends.
It's
so then
like,
you can.
It's like everybody.
You can go in right now today and trigger that 100, and they have to let you talk to him and deal with it, right? Or you can wait, and then you can go in maybe with a lower bid.
Everyone's contract ends on May 31st. That's when you cut your loan players.
Okay, contracts end tomorrow, Tony. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Sesko is a departure from what the club thought we initially needed, thanks to Havertz. And Havertz has had a good season for us. I mean, we can spend more on the number 6. We desperately need that. Our biggest need, if you excluded the number 1 keeper. So I think again,
I still disagree. If you because our midfield fucking sucked this tie-in. It absolutely was terrible. It's
never defend me in court ever.
Our midfield was terrible.
We could have won the league if he was not fucking in the midfield. But Arteta wanted to he wanted to put his crayon.
Tony, promise me you'll never defend me in court. Because the judge will probably say, not guilty, Stan, you're free to go. And you probably go, hold on a minute, why? Shut up, Tony. Why are you letting him go? Didn't you probably get me pinched?
I would be getting you out of this courtroom as quick as possible.
Get you out of the courtroom.
Yeah.
Moss said Liverpool are kicking the tires of Watkins. I heard today. I think it'd be difficult to prize a nice Isak away. I think it'll be difficult to prize a Watkins away from Aston Villa as well. You know, Aston Villa.
Emery's not going to sign a new contract when he give up one of his biggest assets, is he? Without a fight.
Yeah, exactly. You know,
have we touched on that yet?
Then again, as he's the head coach and not a manager, maybe he don't get a say in sales.
If you'd have gotten here from the start, Tony, you'd know what we touched on already.
I want to know if he talked about how big Arteta's new contract.
He touched on a lot of things, Tony, and none of it was cloth.
No, we're going to talk about Arteta, but first we're going to talk about Aubameyang next. You know what I mean?
Why the fuck are we talking about him, Ray? That's ancient history.
I thought you loved history.
Exactly. You're like this Indiana Jones.
What in the world is going on? No, you know what?
No, Tony doesn't want history.
Tony, I thought this segment would be right up your stride.
Perfect for you, Tony. Wow. Perfect.
You'd love it.
Right, I read that Lacazette and Aubameyang are going to be reuniting, but at another club.
Yeah, Lyon maybe, or Marseille. You know,
yeah, I don't know. I didn't mention the club. I read it off the BBC website, saying that they're trying to reunite the pair. I don't know at the clubs they already play for. If there's another club that's going to try and sign both of them,
and reunite that celebration, that goal celebration, right?
What would they be? 32 and 33 now.
Big up Barga for joining us. Thank you for being here, Barga.
Lacazette's done fairly well in the French league, hasn't he? Though he's done, put up some good numbers.
Yeah, a little bit of a disappointment against PSG at the weekend, but
it's crazy. Stan, the year we released him, he scored after we released him. He scored 35 goals in the French
league. He hasn't scored that much, but he was scoring in.
Yeah, but he wasn't being the fucking false 8 or the false 6 at fucking.
But he was going up against teams like Le Havre.
the manager wasn't putting.
I don't even know where that is.
Troyes.
The manager wasn't putting him as a defensive midfielder.
Montpellier.
Lyon were in relegation trouble at the start of the season, weren't they?
Lyon.
Yeah. Lyon were at the bottom of the French league.
If Arteta played Lacazette any further back, he would be in Rosed. You can ask him to play any further back, right?
It's about different environments. Willian's doing very well at Fulham. Different environments, different. You know.
Yeah. Sesko, Eurogroup. Yeah. What's the price soar? I think Moss, hopefully, well, if we're going for Sesko, listen, I'm going to go whatever Arteta decides because his track record and him and Edu, their track record's been pretty good. Yes.
It has?
Yes, we bought a few bad ones.
No, it hasn't. It's been horrible. Ask Stan.
More good than bad.
How many of those signings worked out, Stan? It wasn't
slightly. Now we've got to the end of the season. There are some that have crept over to the worked out side.
but it was like 34 failures, right? So
34.
Yeah, it was way up there.
What?
You had it up there.
34.
He hasn't even bought 34 players time. So I mean,
yes, he has.
What kind of math is that?
Lars is
Tony been here for what 4 years, Tony.
You have to remember he re-signed players like Murray.
Okay, we're talking about players you brought in, right?
He's brought in and extended players.
You just changed the narrative already, so you changed the
Red John, there's 3 hours time difference between Stan and Gary.
Yeah.
Right now, so
the difference is, I think that we're no longer a club where we're going to we'll take a Cedric from Southampton for 5 million. We'll take a punt on this Brazilian kid called Marquinhos for a couple of million, a Lokonga. Now it's like Harrods. you know what I mean? The ready-made deal, please. We want the Declan Rices of this world. We want the Isaks of this. Do you know what I mean? We're looking at big people. Mm-hmm. Even to an extent, talking to a Marcus Rashford, who I don't want, but it shows you the profile of a player that they're willing to talk to. Somebody like a Kai Havertz. What I don't want, though, just touching on the Marcus Rashford thing, is why do we have to be the therapy club? Why do we always have to be bringing in these players? Come on now, come on, it's better over here. We'll put it all right. I'm sick and tired of being Mother Teresa.
What?
I want them ready to go. I want them ready to go.
Didn't we do that for Bergkamp and Henry?
I want players that are brimming in confidence.
Didn't we do that for Bergkamp and Henry, Stan?
Yeah, but there's a balance. But there's a balance.
I got a big question for you, Stan. Big question for you, Stan.
Go on. 9.5 inches. 9.5 inches.
You know what? Yeah, it's just, I knew it was going to go to the wrong place, and Stan went there.
Next question.
We have this academy player that scored 7 goals on 3 separate occasions. Will we see him in the preseason?
Yeah.
One Harry?
Yeah, for sure.
We will.
You will see youth in preseason.
Will we see Arteta go to the youth role? I don't think so.
In the preseason for sure.
Yes,
we haven't seen it yet. So
I know, but that's the next. It's the next stage.
I'd be really surprised that kid even comes into preseason.
It's phase 5.
I mean, come on, give it a little bit of time. You know, at least in where we've known of him for at least.
There'll be some players that won't be back yet for the Euros that will need extra breaks, and they'll need to fill some spots, and that youth will get a chance. Doesn't mean that they're going to get into the squad or anything, but for pre-season they will get to kick balls around. Some people from the youth, guarantee it.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Someone like Saka, depending on how England go, you know, he ain't going to leave the Euros and come straight back to training. He's going to need a break. And if there's going to be tours in America and all of that, they'll give the youth a chance, get them mixing with the squad, you know, get them out there, and they'll be watching them. How do they react in these big situations? How do they mix with the squad? How do they train? How do they listen to instruction? Do they go out at night and get pissed up, or do they go to bed and tuck themselves in and ready? And all these sorts of things. Their character.
Victor Gyökeres is keeping Isak on the bench. I don't know about that. I'm not very much up on the Swedish national team, but Gyökeres, and I mean, it'd be an ideal. That would be an ideal partnership up front for Sweden. And you know, I actually don't know if they're in the Euros. I haven't paid a lot of attention to the Euros.
Sweden, I don't know if they're
Sweden or not.
Probably.
All right. So, does everybody know about the Aubameyang story? The latest thing coming out from Aubameyang?
I heard a little bit. Okay.
So basically just detailed the surroundings about his disciplinary falling out with Mikel Arteta, and it's all based around COVID time when he did have to leave the country to visit his mom, who was ill at the time. He did get a tattoo during the trip.
Yeah, that started before that, right?
You tell me all about it then.
It started before
man.
Ray, you were doing so well, mate. It was very chronological.
It started off before then, right?
Tony could host this section, this section.
I'm still at. I don't give a fuck, right? I don't give a fuck about him. I want to re-sign him, so I can excuse myself from this because I.
So you have nothing. So you have nothing to say, right? So
you, Gary.
Yes, sir.
And fucking Rohan were always like, yeah, let's re-sign this fucking Aubameyang fucker. And I was like, no, let him go out the window. The motherfucker showed up at Barcelona airport. I mean, he left us with no choice. But the story is, Ray, since you wanted me to go into history.
No, we don't want you. I don't want you to talk.
He got in a physical altercation.
I won't hide behind the screen. I'll tell you
Shut
how.
up, Gary. He got in a physical altercation with one of the coaches. It has not been revealed yet.
I'm dying.
Yeah, but you know about it, Tony. How do you know about this?
Because it came out, Gary.
So it's not.
There's social media. It fucking got out there.
Social media, yes. Can you give us the source, Tony?
You really don't think any Arsenal insider knew shit about it till they get out.
I just want you to
seriously. If I'm in court, stay away.
It could have been Fabio.
Stay away.
Reveal your source, please, Tony. I just want
Ray's favorite fucking Arsenal reporter could have fucking shared the facts.
Tony's like following like
It's
Arsenal
good stuff, Dad. It's
Arsenal
good
employee tweets. You know.
Are you really wiping tears from your eyes, Ray?
That was the Tony and Gary section of the show.
I don't like this guy. I'm sorry. Did I say that out loud? No, it doesn't matter.
Where's Alonso?
You lost, Gary. You lost, Gary.
How did I lose? I wasn't even, dude.
Alonso's like kryptonite. Where is he?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Alonso.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I thought all that information.
He's getting his
talking
Pepsi and
about.
his fucking Doritos.
I thought all the information.
Lawrence.
I thought the information that he put out there. That he put out there was the same stuff we already knew.
Oh,
I mean, it was handled poorly. Some would say on
Yeah.
both sides, but I don't think that situation was the only thing that was on Arteta's mind when if he said all the things that he said. I don't think that was just a one-time thing. I don't think it was.
BX's comment before that one is the one.
But
No,
it was a really dark time, man. It was a really dark time.
Gary.
Yes, sir.
He
why are we
showed up.
talking about something that's
He showed
3
up
years
to a lot
old?
he showed up
because
to
of his latest comments.
he showed up to
Oh,
matches late. He showed up
It got
to training
Disgusted with
late.
myself.
Lit a
He
fire
had
under Tony.
multiple offenses, but it ended with him getting in a physical altercation with one of the coaches.
Yeah, I didn't know that one. That's a new one
All
for
right,
me.
so Tony, I mean, Tony gets his info from the Flat Earth webpage. Look,
TMZ.
I mean, Tony's got his
his former Arsenal employee. Find him on the Twitter.
Tony being the original ITK.
Ray knows me as being an elephant. So if I remember it, Ray, it happened.
I mean, Saliba was not going to come back and play for us, y'all. Yeah, I remember that one. He wasn't, and he still isn't. He's still not here. That's not. That's not even Saliba that plays for us anymore. Somebody else. It's like body snatchers.
Marseille's a bigger club. These are all the things Tony said.
Year 2, the coaches said he wasn't coming along fast enough. Skip to the end of his time there. He said he wanted to stay there, but if he talked about it further, he would get in trouble with Arsenal. He wanted to stay. It's the biggest club in France. It's not PSG. They're actually the biggest team in France.
He wanted to stay at Marseille. Is that what you're saying?
Marseille
he wanted to stay there.
They win all the trophies, and yeah.
They did win all the trophies. Ray, during your
I see him all the time winning trophies.
I love the way everybody says Ray like I'm a judge or something.
Ray.
I am not calling your name either. I don't call your name. What's your name again?
Ray, in your mid
right here. Come on.
In your mid-20s to your late 30s, who was winning in France?
So wait, we're going back history again? I thought we were talking about today.
What was the big club in France? Marseille was always.
Saliba wasn't even alive those years you're talking about. Why does Saliba matter to what happened back in those days?
Tony would be Judy.
They weren't developing the way he wanted.
All right.
We're still waiting for him to show what he's got, right?
Yeah, listen.
Right? He wanted guaranteed minutes. He fucking said it. They did the subtitles, unless French subtitles fucking lie. It came from a lion's mouth. It's not like I'm making it up. He said it on 2 separate occasions that got on network air.
Tony, let's have it right, Tony. You said, Tony, he would never play for Arsenal. He would never play a competitive game for Arsenal.
Somebody got fucking hurt, and he had to be a fucking...
So the plan was never to bring William Saliba into the first team. Never.
After year 2, like I said, Ray, they said he
No,
wasn't
you can't.
developing.
No, so he
and
did.
also,
So you lied to us.
He had this grief with him because he wanted to play in the French Cup and
final.
Arsenal.
Yeah.
Arsenal's like, no, your contract ended May 31st.
They didn't want to risk an injury with him because he was an Arsenal.
They said his contract ended May 31st.
Because he was an Arsenal player, they didn't allow him to play in a cup final because he could have got injured.
They said because his contract ended on May 31st.
That's not what Ray said.
A COVID year where everybody else is.
I said they didn't let him play in the cup final because he was an Arsenal player. They didn't want to risk an injury. That's what I would
say. That if you
everybody else was whoever they signed with, Ray. It's whatever their season ended at.
I would say that
it was a COVID year, and players' contracts went past May 31st, except for him for some reason.
Yeah, Stephen is right. Saliba did show his best when he was at Marseille, and he's continued it when he came back to Arsenal. So, if anything, we probably could have brought him to Arsenal a season before as well. You know,
we could have brought him the first goddamn season, right?
You have to send the player. You have to see what the player can do. Send them out on loan. You know what I mean?
Is he not better than Mustafi? Is he not better than David Luiz?
Now
he is. Yeah, but we didn't.
But
he
was better then. I
can
tell you, he would have been better.
You needed to verify all those things. You needed to see him play, Tony, and that's why
I don't need to see him play.
Tony, if you remember anything, do you remember the tackle he did in the MK Dons game?
Would you not be?
Do you remember that one, Tony, or does that one slip your mind? It does slip your mind.
That was his first appearance, wasn't it? MK
he was a little rash when he put that tackle in. You're like, yeah, he's still young. He needs time. He needs some seasoning. All right, because he was doing that in a preseason game. It's like, dude.
You're not gonna season a guy 3 years in a row at fucking in France. You're not go to Germany. You're not going to Italy because they play better defense. Because only in the French league you got players scoring fucking 45 goals a season regularly.
Do you know what the difficulty is there? Germany, it's a young lad and he doesn't speak German. He doesn't speak Spanish either.
And also,
it's proven that.
You remember the history behind it?
He's proven that it's worked out. It's worked out.
But
I guarantee you, if you ask
what was the reason why he went back to France, Tony?
I guarantee you that if you ask him today,
what was the reason why he went back to France, Tony?
Family reasons.
No. Tony, what was the reason why he went back to France?
He did go back there for football reasons.
No, not only for football reasons. What was the other reason, Tony?
Why are you making me say something
that's the truth? Yeah, I want you to tell us the truth. Tell us what happened.
It's 50-50, so why the fuck does it matter, Gary?
Tell me what it was, Tony. Maybe you don't know what it is. Maybe you don't know what it is.
He stayed in France.
Why?
I don't care if his parents died. He stayed in France.
Oh wow. Okay.
Tony, come on. You want to rephrase that? You want to rephrase
that's what Gary wanted me to fucking say.
No, I didn't ask you to say that.
He didn't ask you to say you didn't care. You know? Do you want to rephrase that, Tony?
Nope.
He's a teenager, and he lost a family member, and it was probably best that he go back
both of them
and work on his football and
both
his family situation.
He was not at the time, but coaches said he wasn't developing well enough. So that's why they sent him on loan.
I'm going to say for Tony. Tony said those words, but he didn't mean them. Like many words. You meant that you didn't care that his parents died. You meant that.
That's just not cool.
The reasoning, Ray. I don't.
That
care.
Is the reason he went there. He went to a location that he's familiar with.
Stop doubling down.
Tony.
He doubles down all the time.
Tony does not mean what he said.
Guy doesn't need 3 years of marinating in France. I'm sorry, he doesn't. Him and Arteta never got along. And that started with the fucking French Cup.
Why is this an issue? He's with us now. Why are we? bringing up all this crap. He's with us
Ray
now.
and Gary want to give me a hard time about it because I said he would never.
You're a man about the truth, aren't you?
Yeah.
You're a man about the truth about the history.
Yeah, but Lawrence
he would never play.
Lawrence is trying to figure out why this is a thing. It's because I said he want to play a competitive game for Arsenal, which he wanted.
And you were wrong.
Nope, because Ben White got hurt. Things.
What do you mean you're not wrong?
He wanted guaranteed.
In what world has William Saliba not played a competitive game for Arsenal? I missed like the last few seasons. You say no. He has. You said that he wouldn't, and he has. You were wrong. That's it. Case closed.
Well, what happened? What happened? Ben White got hurt.
You said that he would never play a competitive game for Arsenal, and that is not what's happened. He has. Right? That's it. That's it.
But why?
There's no but. Ben White got hurt. But there doesn't matter. That's not what you said. You did not say if Ben White doesn't get injured, then he will never play. That's not what you said. You said he will never play a competitive game for Arsenal, and he has. Has he not? Has he not? Has he played a competitive game for Arsenal?
I think he's got his mute on.
He's muted, conveniently.
I think he's got his mute on.
I muted him. Go ahead, Tony. You're free.
All
right, Tony.
He wanted
listen.
to leave Arsenal. He wanted to leave.
Let's move
guess
on.
What happened?
But that wasn't the question. It wasn't about did he leave or did he want to. It was. That's not even the issue. You said he would never play a competitive game for Arsenal.
He wasn't going to.
But he did.
Ben White got hurt. It changed.
So can it be said now that Arteta can't manage big egos? He's brought Saliba on board. Yeah, listen. There it can be said. Okay, so we got facts. Facts, Tony. You said Saliba would not play.
Facts. It's facts.
Facts. Ben White got hurt.
It's facts. You'll say he did not play. You'll say he would never play a competitive game for Arsenal. He did. That's fact. That's a fact, Tony.
Ben White got hurt.
It's facts. I know, but these are the facts.
Ben White was not going to be hurt for 2 seasons. Saliba has taken his position. There you go. End the story. Listen, we started out talking about Aubameyang. My take on it is that he contravened the rules at the time, which were COVID rules, and that's why Arteta flared up on him.
That is not happen. Those happen at different times. That's categorically.
You had your chance. I asked you to frame this. I asked you to host it, and you wouldn't.
I said I don't care because I want to.
Why are you fighting him over it now? Then leave it.
If you don't care,
I thought he was going to say the parent thing again.
You don't care about it when you want Ray to.
I think
falsehoods.
Margaff is right here. Let's not.
Now you're a man of the truth again.
Saliba during COVID. Let's not do this thing, Tony. But yeah, look.
Doesn't care about what happened to Saliba, but cares about a fictional character of what happened to Bruce Wayne. Tony, what are you doing?
I don't.
Okay, don't say it again.
He got in a fight with a coach. Okay. It's not about. It's not about what Ray's saying. It's about.
Stan, how do we move on from this, Stan?
It's because you're wrong.
What's our next topic?
Ray.
Yeah.
I tell you, Tony's giving my migraine a migraine.
All right, next one. Next topic. Talks with Arteta about extending his contract.
Too early.
Would you like to expand on that? You can go first, then, Tony. Expand upon that.
I think it's too early. He's still, no matter what you say, he's squandered 3 chances. We were guaranteed 4th.
If you ask some people, he squandered 15 chances.
He's squandered winning the league last year. He's floggered it doing it this year. He said we would upset the project by buying Bruno. Now we're to buy gummy bears. Interested in buying gummy bears for 90 million instead of 32 million.
Let's see if that happens.
And he went out and paid damn near 70 for Kai Havertz, which hindered our midfield to start the season.
Yeah,
but you buy it.
But every club does this, Tony. They buy players.
Why did Kai Havertz get playing striker, right?
Why was other players of Man City not even played all season? They were acquired, didn't even get a game. Nobody's saying anything about Pep Guardiola because he's the best, right? But they bought players that they haven't played all season either. I think it's just facts, Tony. You buy a player, you bring him into a club, you feel like you know where you're going to put him. You play him for a few games and it doesn't work out. You know, in the case of Kai Havertz.
We played Kai Havertz there for fucking almost 30 games until Jesus gets injured.
It wasn't 30.
Get injured, then he.
How many games did he play in midfield? Honestly, how many games did Havertz play in midfield?
Too fucking many, right?
It wasn't 30. But,
it was too fucking many.
It wasn't 30. We played 18 games.
Of the 50 games that he played for Arsenal, 32 were in the attacking mid position. That's every game. So, there's a lot of Champions League games in there that he played in the attacking mid, pretty much.
Left 8.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 there. And EFL Cup is 8. So 8. What is it? 8 games I think he played. So about 24 games.
Steven got 20. Yeah. Okay, so
he wasn't playing, right?
We used half of a season to understand how to best utilize a player.
No, we didn't. We had a fucking injury, and we switched up what we were doing, and Arteta finally realized it worked. He realized that fucking Zinchenko does not help you at left back. Then he learned that fucking Gabriel Jesus doesn't work in the middle. We could have figured that out a year in advance, but Arteta's slow. So here we are. Way to go, Arteta.
All right, so you would not extend him. You would risk losing a manager.
What skill has he improved at?
All right. So Tony, tell me what player do we bring in if Arteta isn't signing a contract?
What player or what coach?
What player will come to Arsenal if Arteta's on his last year of his contract?
I won't fucking know if he signed a deal or not.
What do you mean they won't know? You know, and you're not even a player in the building.
All right.
It's because Arsenal has this huge fucking money they're spending on nice PR. They got this huge PR campaign.
What does that have to do with whether he signed a contract or not? And what
because it fucking dilutes people's minds. That's why.
Like would foil caps on? Is that what you mean? Those people?
All right, Tony, that's it now. You had your say on this segment, okay? All right. But Gary, Tony said, and Tony, you can't come back in now, Tony. Tony said there has been no improvement under Mikel Arteta, and there's been steady points improvement year on year for the last 4 years.
What has he improved at?
He said you can't come back in.
Team management, substitutions, formations. He has one style of play.
Did you just mute him?
Yeah.
Why did you mute him? Let him get it off his chest. Man.
He can't. He's hijacking the show at this point. Come on now, Tony. Go let other people talk, Tony. All right,
I'm hijacking the show.
Yeah. Now, hold on. Calm down a little bit. You're on some kind of strain right now. You're on a run.
Smoking strains.
You have some contagion in your body right now.
Nope. It's called truth, right?
the truth contagion.
Come on, we got Angel, this fucking song about doing heroin. That he has this little fucking verse that he says North London forever. Fucking a dude or somebody sees him at a fucking club and they spin the music to fucking have the fucking
This
bullshit.
is not the road trip, man. We're supposed to be staying. Where are we going?
Where are we going with this?
Gary,
hey, Lawrence, Lawrence, this is what you asked for. Remember?
Tony, you're gonna go backstage. Tony,
oh,
I'm gonna put you backstage if you don't calm down a second, Tony. Seriously,
we're sitting there whitewashing history. That's what's happening.
No, you had plenty of airtime now the last 10, 15 minutes, Tony. So hold on a second, okay? Let Stan, Lawrence, and Gary speak, okay? Gary, what's your thoughts on the contract talks?
I think they have to do it if they want to continue where they're going right now. Even if they have to fire him at the end of the year, they have to sign. Keep him engaged. If he knows he's out, what if the plan of the team is within 2 years, if they haven't re-signed you, more than likely they will let you go. A manager coming to the last year of his contract might feel the same way. And are you going to get the best out of him? Maybe, maybe not. Also, what player who's going to come? Knowing that this manager might be out after a year I get here, and we know a lot of players have said when they've come to Arsenal they come for Arteta, right? From that, talking to him, so I don't feel like I think it's just standard business for me. You can always get rid of him. You take the risk when you put that contract in front of him anyways. So I kind of feel like, it has to be done if you want to continue where we're going. Also, it's not been bad. It's good. It's taken a lot longer than everybody expected.
It's not been bad.
And it hasn't been bad at all.
I get it. No. Yeah.
But so
you could say it's been good.
It's been good. It isn't like I said. It's taken longer than we all want, but I don't think we could get there faster unless, like you say, we had a different manager. They've chosen this manager, and either you're with Arsenal or you're not. All right. If they're going to stick with this is almost like bringing in a young player who's going to be your starting, say captain maybe, and your maybe your right 8 maybe, and you're going to have to go and work with them through thick and thin, right? Good and bad days. We've seen it with Erdegaard, and that's the same thing with Arteta. So we've seen Erdegaard go from there's no way he should be captain to this is what a captain's supposed to do for a squad, right?
And
he was the captain of a fucking Norwegian.
And Gary, his valuation.
This is not Norway, Tony.
His valuation's gone from 30 million.
Captain for Arsenal and captain for Norway aren't on the same level. It's not the same thing.
What about Greta?
Not even close.
Greta
Sambi was a captain too. What is the difference? It's a big difference. Just playing for Arsenal is much less being a captain for a smaller club.
He signed lots of those players.
Tony, you're going in the book, but also a pen is very useful for writing things down so you can remember what you need to say when it's your turn to speak.
I think the Arteta contract makes sense unless they're going out there and get a better manager, and nobody can tell us a better manager that they can afford to bring in.
All right, let's go to Stan, the viewer. You're back, Stan, and look, Mikel Arteta, he's driven to win. He's got that ruthless streak that we're going to be talking about. We've seen it with Aubameyang. We've seen it with Ramsdale, one of the darlings of the Arsenal fans in the last couple of seasons. He's driven to win, even for those fine margins, and he's got the ear of the ownership as well, and he wants to win the trophies that Arsenal fans want to win as well. So why not, Stan?
It was a few years ago when the first time I ever heard this thing said, and I've said it ever since because it was so true. It was Ryan from the Arse Brothers, who I used to be on a few pods with, and who's on with the Bearded Gooner. But we were talking one day, and he said that when that the word project was always coming up a lot, the project, and he said that he thinks that in the eyes of the owners, Mikel Arteta is the project. He's always been the project, and the more that I've seen him develop at Arsenal and the trust that they've put in him, as I mentioned earlier, going from assistant coach to being given the reins and title as manager, I believe that. And I think that his pathway as a manager, I think he mentioned something about not wanting to manage another team in the Premier League, which cancels out Man City. I think his pathway is that he signs this new contract, which I'm glad, they're protecting their asset, which you've got to do. But I think his pathway is that when he gets to the end of the contract that he's going to sign, in that time, he wants to be able to have a CV that shows Champions Leagues, FA Cups, league titles. He wants to, by the end of this new contract, to have tangible stuff on his CV. So when Barcelona come calling, he will go there as a winner, because I think that's where his destination is going to end up at some point, is Barcelona, which is really his home team. He was there as a youth, right? So I don't think we have to worry about him being snatched away to Man City. I think he already has a pathway in his mind.
Yeah.
That he will see out his contract, that he wants to win things with Arsenal. And that will be what? 5? That'd be like, what, 8 years then?
Maybe another 5 years, right? Will be 8 or 9 years then.
Yeah. And that's like a Klopp. That's like a Klopp stint. It'd be time for him to probably want to go to pastures new. And it will probably be Barcelona, I think, is where he'd want to go. And if he's already got the league titles under his belt, it will be easier for them to bring him in. Of course, they'll want him.
Yeah. This BX said the club has been dead for a very long time, and this manager and team has reinvigorated everything. Right from the bottom to the top, and we are going to see academy players.
What I'd also say is as well, he's on his new contract.
Will still be alive at that point, right?
It's 10 million a year. I think his contract is 10 million a year.
Yeah,
I'm sure when Brendan Rodgers managed Liverpool, he got paid 12.
Right.
Stan, I have a question.
So you pay what you think the person is worth, right? It's like when you buy a player, you will pay what you think that they're worth. But Brendan Rodgers never won a league with Liverpool.
Stan.
Yes.
Do you remember what you said about Arteta when he was on 5 or 6 million a year? You said we signed him because he was the cheapest option.
Yeah. At that time, yeah. And why wouldn't he be the cheapest option? He come with the less pedigree. It was a bigger gamble.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean the club took a big risk on a coach from Manchester City who had Arsenal ties, and the notion that he's going to go back to Man City is fanciful because it's hard at Arsenal and Barcelona.
You have to remember that he was the choice before Emery. That was their first choice.
Right.
He wasn't a choice. I think he was a candidate.
Arteta wanted to be a manager instead of being a coach. That's why he chose not to go to Arsenal.
Yeah, he was a candidate.
He declined it. He declined the job.
He was one of the candidates, as Stan said, for the job.
And you know who wasn't, Ray?
I know who wasn't.
Twice. Neither time they interviewed.
I know.
It wasn't Bertie Mee.
Vieira twice.
Nigel Winterburn.
They didn't interview Vieira twice.
It was Lee Dixon.
Herbert Chapman. I never interviewed him.
Gus Caesar.
It was Vieira. Come on, Ray.
Glenn Helder.
Vieira. You know the answer.
Eddie McGoldrick.
Ray, you know the answer. It was Vieira.
Philip Sendria.
Marwan Shemek.
Who did they turn down, Ray? Who did they not invest?
Philip Sendria.
Go to?
Mark Overmars. Mark Overmars, but that's a different story.
It was Vieira. That was for a different role, right? We still need to find somebody like that. We still need more backroom staff.
Right. Yeah.
Because we still got these guys. You got these lawyers and stuff.
Stevens,
football man in there.
Steve, we'll get Lawrence in here as well. But Steven said, for me, it hasn't taken longer. If you thought we would won the title by now, you were in La La Land. Our next season will depend on what City does. Our next season has to be beating Pep on the pitch. I'd like to do that. If Pep is gonna do one and leave. At the end
how many times did Jurgen Klopp? He only won the league once. Yeah, he won the Champions League as well, which is more than we've done. But in that battle, he finished second a lot of times, and he left a hero.
Second twice and won it once. They competed first and second in only 3 of the 8 seasons. So don't let them say they competed in the league each and every year. And this is what worries me a little bit about Arsenal is injuries as well, because Liverpool did have injuries in some of their campaigns. Lawrence?
Yeah.
You wanted to get in?
Yeah, I just wanted to say something. Next season's going to be interesting because it was mentioned during the week that Manchester City's odds for being relegated have been slashed to 25-1 because of the 115 charges. So it's going to be interesting if what happens when they charge Man City for cheating and how that affects us. Because as I said, the writing is on the wall for City now because they say next season is going to be Guardiola's last season with the club.
It's going to be,
which means he knows that.
Yeah. He knows the writing.
Yeah.
He knows the writing on the wall. But a lot of us are going to say either the case is going to be watertight and they're going to get theirs, or some fans are going to say nothing's going to happen. They're going to get a slap on the wrist and life will go on. I don't know what's going to happen. I can't predict it. But the court case is going to go from October to June of next year, Tony.
You're at a position now where you've won the title 6 times in 7 years. Don't you get a little bored and want to have a different challenge?
He may well. If I'm Pep Guardiola right now, I'm looking at a court case and headlines throughout the season. How can that make it very settled for Man City? If I was him, I'd probably be thinking about leaving this summer. Do you know what I mean?
Can I ask a question? You know Diego Simeone from the manager at Atletico Madrid?
Yeah.
What's he won lately?
He won the La Liga a couple of seasons ago. Yeah.
Okay. So he's not like running it and winning it regular.
No.
How many Champions Leagues has he won?
Has he won any? I don't think he's won any.
How many finals and semifinals?
Do you know how much he gets paid?
Quite a bit. Quite a few semifinals.
He gets paid £14 million a year.
A lot. Yeah.
So that's £4 million more a year than our manager. You have to put things into context, right? You have
Is
to look
it
at
14 or 40?
It's 32 million. It's
he earns 14 million a year.
14.
Right? He earns 16.5 million euros.
Okay. That's pretty well paid.
Annual salary.
So they do not want him to leave because they're in the Champions League each and every year and they're getting to quarterfinals and semifinals each and every year.
They're happy with that money, right?
They're happy with that money, Tony. Exactly.
What does Pep get? I don't know. Let me find out. I'll be back.
I swear it's 32 million.
Arsenal is easy money and no stress for his family, says Red John. Look, I think he's holding the team accountable, so he's holding himself accountable.
I don't believe the Arsenal job is a stressless job.
It's not stressless. The way Mikel Arteta goes into work each and every day.
That's what that comment said, right? The comment said it was a stress job, and that's
no stress.
Yeah.
Maybe no stress for his family, but it's stress for him.
No, yeah,
Can you read that number? Right?
29 million.
That's what he makes a year.
Who?
Not 13.
Pep.
Pardon?
Pep makes 29 million a year.
No, not Pep.
Simeone.
Simone is the highest paid manager.
Well, no. Well, what I'm seeing here is that Pep gets not just under 20 a year, 19.9 pounds. That's 23. That's 23 million euros a year. it says here Pep gets £19.9 million a year. Simeone, as I mentioned, he got 14.
That's incorrect.
Well,
Madrid boss.
Listen, Tony, if you want to argue with Google, carry on. You know what I mean?
According to Tony,
I'm shooting the messenger. I'm not. These aren't my numbers. These aren't my numbers.
Illustrated.
I'm not fucking Fabrizio Romano. I'm just using Google. You know, maybe
Madrid
your internet
boss.
goes to a different place than mine does.
Can I read what it says?
Yeah, why not?
Atletico Madrid boss Diego Simeone is reportedly the highest paid manager in world football. According to 2023 list published by French newspaper L'Equipe, this week Simeone is currently earning a salary of £29 million, 846 and 244 pounds.
Actually, I'm reading something else here.
John,
I'm actually reading a few other. Hang on. I think Tony's right. I'm reading a few other things here where he's coming up higher than Pep, and I'm reading one here that says that the Atletico Madrid boss earns 30 million a year, which is significantly higher than what Pep Guardiola pockets at Man City.
He's the highest paid manager in world football.
So then that basically even compounds my argument even more, because we're only paying Mikel Arteta 10.
Yeah, 10 or 12, right?
But
I was surprised to see it at 14 because I heard during the week that he earned 30 million, but I didn't believe it. So when the internet first told me it was out, I thought, well, that seems more likely. But 30 million.
That's like a new signing. 30 million is like a new signing, right? Simeone is the highest paid, says Tiger.
But that so ties your hands, though, because it's hard to do fair play when you're spending that much money on your manager. That's
a lot of resources.
According to this chart, it's got Diego Simeone at 30, Pep at 20, Jurgen Klopp at 16, Steven Gerrard over there in Saudi Arabia at 15.2, Max Allegri, Juventus 11.3, Tommy Tickle when he was at Bayern at 10.6, Pochettino at 10.4 when he was at Chelsea. Mikel Arteta is 11th on the list at 8.3. So he's had a couple of million. So that's sort of like, you know, he's being paid in the range there of a Pochettino and a Thomas Tuchel.
Right. So now that's securing, what we're doing is securing our manager to
protect our asset.
Protect the asset to go along with the Arsenal squad who have been re-signed. The majority of them have been re-signed and we're good for a few years. So we are set up for this 3 to 5 year period.
I mean, who here has ever had a £2 million pay rise? I mean, it's like, what? I just want to earn the 2 million. Thanks.
About a 25% raise, right? That's right. We've learned that Tony can read Google. Colonel Ward's in the house. It's no longer Siri, it's Tony.
It's not good.
You get your information from Tony, Toni.
My information turned out to be true, though.
Yes.
I was making that there are managers that haven't won anything of note getting paid more than Mikel Arteta.
I mean, look at the source. Look at the source. It was Sports Illustrated. So you know it's bound to be pretty reliable. Right, Ray? Pretty reliable, Sports Illustrated?
I don't know your sources.
Sports Illustrated is like the biggest fucking news company. Come on.
Okay.
I think 10 highs with 9 million. Fucking hell. Jesus.
You get your team autographed hockey stick for your yearly subscription, right? Or whatever fucking.
All right, Tony, I don't think you weren't on the Sunday show, right, Tony? So what should you are a Ten Hag admirer, is that correct?
I like that he develops young players, and I like that he has the balls. Like his first game in charge,
I never knew this.
His first thing that he ever said, Ray.
You're doing this on purpose, mate. I don't believe any of this.
He said
no way. No way.
He's been saying it for 2 years now, Stan.
No.
The first thing he said, Stan, was if he could bench all 11 players, he would. That's what he said after his first game. You have to give a manager's balls for saying that. That's saying everybody was shit. The coaches, everybody.
That's the way Tony would do it, Gary. That's the way Tony would manage.
But doesn't that take balls to say that, Ray? And there's lots of times now that the players actually do that. They'll throw the manager under the bus.
Wait. So you said after one game, the manager said that, but then all of a sudden, then you want to turn it around and say the players aren't playing for the manager anymore?
It's a family. They did it for so many managers.
You ever heard
is Anthony playing for the manager
Klopp,
or not?
Or Wenger, or pick any manager who's won the Premier League.
Mourinho, the team quit on him twice. The team quit under Wenger.
Still got him to second.
Wenger was not supported by the club.
The team quit on him, but he got him to second. How does that happen? I wish our players would quit then. You quit and you come second. Usually you quit, you come eighth, and you're like, fucking hell, what are they doing all the way down there?
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question, Tony. You said about Ten Hag and all that. So is Anthony, has he stopped playing for the manager? Has he stopped playing for Ten Hag, in your opinion?
I think most of them have.
No, but Anthony specifically. Do you think he stopped playing for Ten Hag?
No, but what I started on
I'm asking you a question.
That's not where I started at, Stan.
You said that the players aren't playing for Ten Hag.
Why does Stan's question have to be your question?
That's actually not what I said.
Oh, okay.
I said that they stop playing for these managers now.
Are you talking about Ten Hag though in Man United?
No, I wasn't. I was talking about...
They are playing for Ten Hag then.
Where I started at was Mourinho. 2 teams have quit on him.
Okay.
You've had...
all right, Tony, can I just ask you a question? Please? Let me just ask you a question.
Players.
Are the players still playing for Ten Hag in your opinion? Yes or no? At Man United?
I don't think they are at this point.
I think they are.
Okay, so, is Anthony one of those players, in your opinion, who isn't playing for the manager?
I would say no.
He's not playing for the manager?
No, I would say yes, he's playing for the manager.
So he's just a bit shit then?
Basically, yeah.
Okay, I just wondered. Okay. Because my biggest criticism of Ten Hag is this, right? Anthony specifically is a player that this man knows. He didn't just think, he hasn't watched YouTube videos and think, oh, this guy looks good. Or someone's told him about him. He coached this guy at Ajax and knows what this guy is all about, his character, his personality, and what he brings as a footballer. And he brought him to Man United and he can't get a tune out of him. That's what I don't understand. He should be the player that he knows the most out of everybody else. Yet he can't. The guy in 2 seasons has scored, 5 goals and 3 assists. He cost over £80 million.
Yeah. But nobody talks about him like they talked about Pepe.
Exactly.
You know?
He's a bigger flop than Pepe.
Arsenal, I don't know what Arsenal have done to other rival
And just to finish
fans.
off, that's why I question Ten Hag. Because you can make excuses up. I didn't know that player. I've heard about him. I only saw the best bits on his videos. He saw this guy every day at work. Every day he went to work, he saw Anthony. And he was the one that went to Manchester United and said, listen, you need to give me over an 80 million to buy this guy. I know this guy. He's sweet as a nut. Fucking happy days, mate. He'll be the best player. He's been the worst player. And he knows the guy. That for me is inexcusable. For me, that's just like, what is going on now? If you can't get a tune out of him, you ain't getting a tune out of nothing.
Yeah, but look at Pogba. It's they let him go for like a minimal like 500,000.
Right, now we're going back.
Yeah, but he
4 seasons.
But they bought him back for 84 million. They bought him back for 84 million, and it was never worth that. Pepe, 72 million. He was a 36 million player if you stretched it as far as you can at a time. We played double odds for him, so of course we failed.
We bought Pepe for 50 million and the other 22 million, that Spanish waiter, what was his name? That used to be
Raul,
Raul, whatever his last name was, pocketed the rest.
Sanyei.
Yeah.
That's still what we paid out, though.
And look, that's a perfect example, Lawrence, of where we were 5 or 6 years ago. And you can see where we are now. And it's night and day. You know what I mean? We used to be that team. We used to be that team that were winning FA Cups for 4 or 5 years. We won it 4 times out of the last.
We were a cup team.
6.
We were a cup
times out
team.
of
We
6
couldn't
seasons.
challenge for the league. We were a cup team. We couldn't challenge for a league. That's United now. It's turned around.
Yep.
We're going toe to toe with the league leaders. They're not. They're picking
But
up.
yet the media want to big up Manchester United now, and we didn't hear that at Arsenal.
But
5 or 6 years ago.
Ray, what did those 4 FA Cups give us besides 4 cups?
I mean,
hold on. Did you hear the question? Hang on? Hold on. Ray, he goes, Ray, what did those 4 FA Cups get us besides 4 FA Cups?
The team didn't improve any. They weren't challenging for the league.
I know, and that's what I'm saying, Tony.
Themselves, man.
Tony, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying that, Arsenal were criticized for not taking that next step after winning an FA Cup. But we weren't a good enough team to be that good in the league at the time. 2014, 2015, 2016. Yes, we came close to Leicester one year. We really should have pushed the boat out and beaten Leicester to it. But Leicester were good. Leicester were pretty hard not to crack.
We didn't twice, right?
We didn't have a team good enough to challenge in the league at the time, Tony. And now the Arsenal fans said, why can't we have a team good enough to challenge for the Premier League? And now in the last 2 seasons, maybe we're getting there. We have a team good enough. Now it's flipped over, Lawrence. I see a light going on in your head there, Lawrence. Right above you as well. Now it's flipped over where Arsenal fans are saying, why can't we go for an FA Cup?
Do you know why can't we go for a Champions League? Why can't we go for a Champions League? Why can't we go for the Premier League?
You said what those 4 FA Cups, what do they mean? They mean that my team has more FA Cups than anybody else at the moment. That's what it means, and I like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to bring up a point. I read that Manchester United, even though they won the FA Cup, might have to play in the Conference League because one of the other teams that Sir Jim Ratcliffe owns is going to be playing in the Europa League.
I think
you can't have 2 teams, but that are owned by the same company playing in the same European competition.
Conflict of interest.
The Dutch league, I think there's a team in the Dutch league, if I'm not mistaken. I saw that somewhere. I wasn't aware I was going to drop them down from the Europa down to the conference.
I don't think it drops down United though, because I think United won their way in. So I think that's it's guaranteed they go in. So even if there is a conflict of interest, it wouldn't affect United. It's going to affect the other team because of the fact that they won the cup to get in there. So
right. Moss said Kai was not a waste, but Anthony sure has been, and Donkey Maguire, and so many at United. Chelsea United become cup. The Eric Ten Hag and BDS have become cup teams now, Tony. You used to go on about Chelsea with your chest puffed out. Now look at Chelsea. We got to win our FA Cup next year as United are one behind us now. Time to win it.
He used to go on about Chelsea with a chest puffed out.
Tony.
Did he?
Yeah.
I used to go about Chelsea with their dick stuck out, making these big signings and winning the leagues. Why are they called BDS? Big Dick Swingers. Come on,
you started that.
Ray.
You started that.
Say it, Ray.
I'm not going to say
it. Come on, Ray.
Mushrooms again.
City Yeah, he's on.
How
He's
many
on a
times
strain.
do we talk about BDS, Ray?
He's got a strain contagion, Stan. All right, so Tony, I want to ask you one question. Do you think you Manchester United, and we're going to get away from it after this, do you think they should stick with Ten Hag or move on?
I thought they should have stuck with Ollie, but they didn't.
Okay, and Ten Hag?
Which you made fun of for him finishing second and third.
He asked you about Ten Hag, man.
You made fun. You made fun.
You know
of
why
him,
I
man.
made fun of it? Because I didn't think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was going to win a title with Man United. Because they were not playing sustainable football, in my opinion.
But they were still finishing second or third.
Yeah, but not good enough to win the league at the time against City. United and Spuds in Europa, Chelsea in the conference.
So Arteta should be fired since he wanted Ole fired. If you go by the same rules, right? You're firing Arteta, right?
There's no same rules. That every club works differently, you know. So
you're fired him, right?
I wanted them to keep Ten Hag just because if he can't get a tune out of a player that he knows, he's stuffed, mate, and that's good for us. So keep him.
Yeah, I think they should keep him as well.
Love his press conferences as well. So funny.
Colonel Ward's got a question here, so throw some questions in. I'll put it to the panel here. Gary, can we get Gary's thoughts on Lokonga and how Arteta will make him world class next year?
Unless Arteta's leaving us, I don't think that's happening. Lokonga's out.
Unless he's got a magic wand.
But Lokonga.
Yeah, look at the ruthlessness of Mikel Arteta. We should see it again this summer.
No, it's that we kept digging in there trying to find this Portuguese wonder player, and we struck out twice.
All right, Tony.
Right.
You know, I was teabagged onto you. Piling in, isn't he? Look at him.
There's a fire lit underneath him. You know what I mean?
Tony, what have you been drinking?
That's my little brother you're talking about.
Nothing.
What are you doing?
Sal, Eddie, and Jesus panel or one or the other, and how much should we get? I would sell both of them.
Yeah,
I would sell both Eddie and Jesus.
Yeah,
the gold
and Zinchenko. It's a triple package.
Gabriel Jesus, I think his goal output is horrible this season. Jesus.
But the thing is for me with Jesus is that if you then relegate him to be a backup player and say, okay, you're still part of things, but you're a backup player, he's a very expensive backup player, and that upsets the apple cart. You've got players now that will be playing every week, earning less money and going, he's earning a bag more than me, and he's on the bench and shit. Do you know what I'm getting at? So he has to go. Same with Thomas Partey. Thomas Partey is on a similar kind of a figure. 200, 250 around there. If he's going to be relegated to someone that we can't rely on and we're going to fumble with, just free up that wage. We could bring in somebody that can do a job and maybe pay them 120, 130. You know what I mean?
But how much is a signing on that be for a winger of that quality? Wingers cost a lot.
Well,
what a winger? What a starting winger? What do we need a starting winger?
We need somebody to challenge, don't we? Do we need somebody to challenge Saka? Really?
Not challenge.
But I'm sure that we'll be able to get someone and pay him less than 200 grand a week to be on the bench. Is that where we are now? I mean,
it's where we've been a while, unfortunately, Stan.
No. Gabriel Jesus gets paid more than Saka. Let's put that into context. He gets paid more than Saka.
Yeah.
But if you want to keep Saka at that thing, you can't have this guy sat on the bench who's earning more than him, because at some point Saka's going to go, I want more money, mate. Or his agent's going to say it. Now you're unbalancing everything. So you got, Saka could be happy on his wage, but he ain't going to be happy on his wage when he can see a guy earning 200, whatever it is, and he's not contributing. They're going to be like, hold on a minute, I'm not getting what I'm worth here.
Imagine him stand.
That's just life.
Imagine when he's playing, he's sitting there getting paid $3,000 a season, Then his next pay upgrade is 40,000 a season, and you got Enkedia making 70 grand when Saka's only getting 40.
And that's why someone like Kai Havertz had to be worked into the team. He gets paid more than anybody in the club. He's our highest paid player is Kai Havertz, and it almost didn't work. Could you imagine what would have happened if whatever reason that did not turn out? We'd be stuffed. We'd have to sell him because you can't have players like Martin Odegaard going, so hold on a minute, he gets paid more than me and he's not worked out.
If you didn't have Jesus and Martinelli getting injuries, he would have been stuck in the midfield.
Declan Rice cost 105 million, but he doesn't get paid more than Kai Havertz. It's not about salary. It's not about the transfer fee. Kai Havertz cost 65 million. He gets paid a lot more than Declan Rice does.
Yeah. Gary, Jesus and Eddie, or one?
Yeah, no, we can sell both of them, let them go. I mean, Jesus, of course, if we keep him, will be. I mean, I can't see him starting for us, right? So he would definitely be a good player. He'd be, you would like to say similar to Trossard, right? He can compete for starting. If he gets better, then you play him. But yeah, no, I think it'd be hard to get rid of. I think Zinchenko right now is being looked at. I think Vincent Kompany looking at one of his former teammates, right?
Yeah, Bayern.
So,
yeah.
So if they want to pick him up, I don't know why Arsenal hasn't said yes. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that would be a good transfer for Zinchenko and Arsenal if we can recoup some of that money.
There's a lot of
Zinchenko's another high salary payer, another high salary.
Yeah. We've got 10 players we can let go, and I don't think we would see a significant drop in our form.
And that one leads me to believe if we get rid of 7 or 8 players, we can bring a couple of academy players in combined with signings.
We haven't done it so far.
You're looking at a player like Timber to come in and be a starting player. He earns less a week than fucking Zinchenko. So you've got to rectify that. You've got to get rid of him. You've got to get rid of
in the position.
You know what I mean? Zinchenko's he probably gets paid more than Tomiyasu as well.
He's better in the position. Yeah, exactly. He's better in the position and getting paid less as well. So there you go. Zinchenko probably going to Bayern Munich, hopefully. And we can put a draw line underneath the Zinchenko experiment with Timber coming in. I think it's going to be similar to last season. We're going to get a goalkeeper, right? Because Ramsdale's going to move. We're going to get a goalkeeper
for a 5th straight season.
A defender, a midfielder, and a forward. I think 4 players could come in again this summer.
We need more than that, right? We still need center backs.
You'll get your academy players, Tony.
We need strikers.
Centre backs. We're abundant. We're overflowing with centre backs. How do we need another centre back? Saliba, Gabriel, Tomiyasu.
No, because you're looking at it. You're looking at players that can play different roles, but we actually need cover. Ben White is our starting right back, right?
But Timber can play there.
Yeah.
So can Tomiyasu. What I'm saying is,
you make up your mind who's playing where, but at some point you're gonna have to look at we're gonna have a player missing, is what I'm saying. We don't have cover for all the spots. You know what I mean? Because we're talking.
I think we're good.
Yeah. I think we need one more player in the back line. Pick it a fullback or a center back. We need at least one in the back line along with the goalkeeper. And we definitely need 1 or 2 players in the midfield, right?
Did you see that viral video of Ramsdale in the Southampton end at Wembley? Where he's
mad. Yeah, he's mad.
Oh, well, what was he doing in the Southampton end?
I thought he was
handing out his CV.
Well, he didn't want to go in the Leeds end because they don't like him at Leeds too much, having played for Sheffield United. You know,
he was like Yossi Hughes, wasn't he? Gives a job, I can do that.
Yeah,
gives a job. Every club lowballing for Ramsdale, so maybe keep. Yeah, look, we need to hold firm on Ramsdale. I'd be quite okay with Ramsdale being one of the last outgoings in the summer.
Not going to happen.
We
He's not
can't.
gonna-
We can't continue to let players leave who can start in the league. It's just we
Yeah.
He's
can't do
leaving.
that anymore. We're doing it too often, and he is
How much
going
do
to
we
be. He would
let-
be the third goalkeeper we would let go under value.
There we go
Right.
again.
Who's the
Goalkeeper.
starting goalkeeper in the league?
Yep.
I mean, who does that? That's ridiculous, right?
I don't.
So-
There's no way that. There's
How
no way
much
that
did we sell
Ramsdale
Uno
goes
for,
through another
Gary?
season of only
It
playing
doesn't
2
matter.
games.
They're starting goalkeepers that are under their
Two
Well,
value.
games.
play hardball, Stan.
The only reason that he played 2 games was because it was against the team that David Raya couldn't
Yeah.
play against.
No,
Otherwise, there's no way. Ramsdale's too good. He knows that. He's not going to want that.
You know what? He might
Yeah.
not have a choice.
Who's got the power?
Nobody.
Oh, you're right, Gary. On FIFA, he's my backup keeper to Donnarumma, but that's FIFA. He doesn't get a choice. I'm keeping him as backup.
Yeah,
In
but-
real life, he has to play, doesn't he? England.
He has to
potential.
play, but we're not
So,
going
Stan,
to.
what
At
do
some
you
point,
say?
Arsenal just can't let players go for
Yeah.
whatever people want to pay. They're trying to undercut us. At some point, we keep talking about being ruthless.
The
At
longer we
some
keep
point,
him, the more his value drops because he ain't playing games.
Well,
No,
you play,
We're playing. He'll play.
wants
He'll play games. No, I have
we
no
play a
doubt
game of
about it.
brinksmanship.
We are not going to keep a player that doesn't want to be there. Surely Ramsdale wants to play week in, week out. He's had that flavour. He's
So,
not going to be
Stan,
okay.
The rubber will meet the road at some point in the summer. You know what I mean?
Somebody's goalkeeper will get injured in preseason or something like that, and then they're going to be like, "Well, you know what? There's a starting goalkeeper right there. What does a starting goalkeeper go for?"
But it can't be
No.
15 million, Stan. It's got to be in the 20s.
They're going to
at
get our
least.
pants pulled down because I think he's going to want to leave. They're going to know the situation. It's not like they're trying to entice a player. It's a player that they know that we can't keep.
Yeah.
We can't keep him. We just can't.
I
So
saw.
we're going to get nowhere near the money back that we paid. Nowhere near.
I saw a write-up where it basically
20
said
maximum.
they don't want to pay
Yeah.
the price for Ramsdale, but they might pay 30 or 40 for another goalkeeper outside.
Yeah, Trafford.
who's coming from outside the league, and I'm like, all right, you know what?
Spite.
What is it? What is it called? What is it called?
That's-
Taking the piss.
Yeah,
That's
taking the
what that
piss.
is, right?
That's that Burnley keeper, Trafford.
Arsenal can't.
We
Nah.
have to do the deal. They know
Nah.
that we have to deal, right? We're going to have
No,
to do the
we
deal.
don't
because
have to do the deal. That's like
We don't want to. He ain't
Newcastle.
going to want to stay. He's done.
It doesn't
he
matter.
wants
That's
out.
like
No.
we
Arsenal
don't
hold
have-
the power,
power.
Stan.
We don't have to. At some
Yeah.
point, we have to have control, and we have control in this one.
Mikel Arteta is not going to want a guy sat on a bench who looks like a bulldog chewing a wasp. He ain't going to want that. He doesn't want someone sat there with a face like a slapped
Yeah.
ass. It's bad.
When
it's
does his
bad for the
contract
family.
end,
It's bad for
Gary?
the vibe. He
Taking
don't
the
like all
piss.
that.
When
Yeah,
does
he
the
wants
contract
everybody-
end, Gary?
It'll be
He's
interesting, Stan.
He's
It'll be
ruthless as well. Remember, he is ruthless. This guy is a ruthless guy.
Okay, north of 20. I'm going to say north of 20 for Ramsdale. Stan, lower?
Ramsdale's contract ends
Higher or lower? I'm going to be Bruce Forsyth.
2026.
Higher or lower, Stan?
I think
gotta
we'd be
be
lucky
Bruce
to get
Forsyth.
more than 20.
Higher or lower?
I'm saying 20. No higher than 20. No higher than 20. Because we
What was that game?
don't have a strong hand.
What was that game with Bruce Forsyth?
Play your cards right.
Play your cards. Arsenal need to play
Alright,
their
my love.
cards right. Higher or lower?
Higher. How up, my love?
Good
Come
game,
the end of
good game.
December, he can sign for free somewhere, right? So we do not
It's
hold
an
the
8.
cards.
Stan, it's an 8.
What do you
Higher
mean?
or lower?
26, Tony. His contract
That
ends in
means
26.
that means in December.
All right, so Gary,
can
you're
sign-
above 20.
How can he sign? He still has
And
2
you were
years on his
below 20.
contract, Tony.
He
Lawrence.
can sign.
What are we going to get
Yes.
for Ramsdale, Lawrence? More than 20 or less than 20?
2025.
Okay, you're at the higher. I think
Right.
Stan said lower. Gary said higher. I'm going higher than 20. Tony?
If the player's contract ends in 2026, you can sign him in January 2026 for free. Correct?
That's 2 seasons.
I know. What are we talking about? We're talking about this summer, Tony.
Ah,
He can sign him when he's 47 years old.
you're missing the point, Gary.
No, you're missing the point. We're talking about this summer. You're talking about some future that hasn't even. Dude, let's
what are you talking about 2 years from now, Tony?
It's not 2 years.
2026. The year is 2046, and Ramsdale is still at Arsenal.
You can sell him in 2025, Gary.
Oh, we fine.
You can sell him now. That's what we're talking about. Selling him now.
Oh, Jesus.
Lawrence, I'm convinced he's making this shit up.
No, I can't believe he's serious about this. He's got to be winding us up.
We're gonna keep Ramsdale for 2 seasons, and then we'll get the price we want.
No, it's just performance art. It is, isn't it? It's performance art.
Nope.
As we say in Ireland, he's in rare form tonight. Tony is. Okay, Tony, higher than 20 or lower than 20?
Lower.
Lower. Okay. All right. Ramsdale will be moving on. Zinchenko will be moving on. We're going to get a defender. We're going to get a goalkeeper of some sort. We have to buy a midfielder of some sort because Partey is not going to be reliable if he stays, or
we got to buy wingers. We got to buy strikers. We got to buy.
We talked about the forwards. Now we have to talk about midfielder. For me, I would prefer to stay in the Premier League and buy this midfielder in the Premier League. We've seen even the issues. I think Arsenal players have had issues who have not been Premier League proven. You know, it's proven that the players who have come from other leagues have had difficulty. I'm thinking about Fabio Vieira.
But right.
Yeah.
You love Yuri Tillemans. You want to sign him. You want to sign him last year on a free as a squad player.
Yeah, 12 months ago. Yes. I wanted to sign Declan Rice also.
Yeah.
I wanted to sign Trossard. So why are you bringing me with my L's when I have some W's as well? Why are you bringing L's to me?
I've got every player's salary up here right now that I'm looking at.
Yeah.
So the highest paid player on it says on this is Kai Havertz at 280 grand a week. Okay. Obviously, there's going to be like appearance money and some other
we basically have an Aubameyang there.
The second highest player is Gabriel Jesus at 265.
Yeah,
265. So if he becomes a backup player, I thought it was more nearer to 265. Man, that's quite a lot of dough for someone who's not going to be a. The next person is Declan Rice at 240.
Value for money.
Martin Odegaard is the same at 240.
Value, yep.
The next player at number 5 is Thomas Partey at 200.
Right.
That's got to get shared.
And that's where it gets a little sticky there with Thomas Partey because of the amount of appearances he makes.
Yeah, him and Gabriel Jesus are the ones that are sticking out. And then after that, you've got Saka at 195. There's a big disparity of what he brings to the team and what Jesus is bringing to the team. Yeah. And then below him, the next one is Big Bill Saliba at 190. Martinelli is next at number 8 at 180. 180 Martinelli. And then another one that brings a little bit of disparity here is you got Alexander Zinchenko at 150. But you got Ben White at 120. And Ramsdale's at 120 as well. So you got Zinchenko at 150, Ramsdale 120, Ben White 120, and then Jorginho at 110.
Okay.
What about Gabriel Margulies?
That's what I was asked. What about our Brazilian center back?
So we've got 3 players next after Jorginho on 110, which is number 12. At 13, we've got 3 all the same, right? We've got Eddie Nketiah, Reece Nelson, and Gabriel Megalegs all at 100. So you look at Megalegs on a 100 and you zoom up to like a Zinchenko on 150. You look at a Thomas Partey at 200. There's a big disparity there, isn't there, for what Megalegs is bringing to the team?
Yeah,
and then under that,
he's just signed a new deal though, so those numbers won't be the same.
Okay. Under that, you got Timber at 90, Trossard at 90. Again, you could say that Trossard is probably being underpaid.
Trossard.
Probably being underpaid there, right?
Yeah,
He's getting less than Eddie. He's getting less than Reece Nelson. Right?
Yeah.
So then after that, you got Raya at 85. And then, Raya's at 85. Ramsdale was at 120. Ramsdale played 2 games last season. So again, that's got to be adjusted. Otherwise, you got Raya knocking on your door. If we do what you do, Tony, and keep Ramsdale for another 2 seasons, David Raya's not going to be happy because he's on 85 grand a week, and the guy that's only going to play hardly any games a season is on 120. Right? They've both got kids. Cedric Suarez, who's leaving now, who's left, he was on 75.
Yeah.
And you compare that to Akivior, who's next at 58. 58 to 75 there. So Cedric Suarez had to go. But this is a bad one for me. Tomiyasu. 55 grand a week. Tomiyasu.
But you maybe don't rate him, right?
I rate Tomiyasu. I think he's very versatile.
Okay.
I think he's a very good player. He's on so little. 55.
Yeah. But that's good for the wage structure. If we move a Jesus, a Zinchenko on, these are high earners.
And then the next one's of note. Next one's of note because El Neni's gone. He was on 55. But the next one of note is Teabag at 45, Smith Rowe on 40, Marquinhos 30, Cole Hine at 10. So there's a lot of disparities there. I mean, you look at some of those. I mean, for me, the ones that stick out is Gabriel Jesus on 265, Thomas Partey at 200.
Yeah,
you know,
when you're looking for value for money, when you're looking for value for money, yeah.
But the other one there, you've got Nketiah, Nelson, and Megalegs all on 100, and you think, well, Megalegs is like one of our top boys, and he's getting Reece Nelson money.
Steven's got a good point here. Problem with the salaries is that the big ones are carryovers from other clubs like Chelsea and City. So we've had to maybe maintain their wages for Gabriel Jesus, Zinchenko, Kai Havertz, Jorginho.
Probably increase.
You can always play. You can play hardball, right?
Gabriel Jesus wasn't getting 265 grand a week.
You can play hardball, but when it comes to selling Ramsdale, it's not going to happen. I don't get it. Make up your mind. Which one is it? Play hardball or
we'll see what happens with Ramsdale. I'll be interested.
I reckon Jesus was on about 170 at Man City, which is a nice, but 170 to 265. Guaranteed that's what it was around about. 180.
Yeah, look. We not only buy the players for the fees, but we buy them at their wages. They're not gonna change their wages too much, and that's why you're gonna have movement between Premier League teams a lot because the wages are not on the continent as much.
I mean, you have to look at the contract that we paid Thomas Partey. We were expecting a lot more for his status that we gave him. We gave him we've given him a nice, comfortable living, and he's not. It's not worked, has it?
It's been sporadic. Yeah, Lawrence.
Can I throw a name into the hat on who we should get?
Yeah.
Calvin Phillips. I wouldn't mind him.
Are you having a laugh?
Good addition.
I know. Are you sure you want to be on this show anymore? What did you just say? Can you say that name? Make sure you got the name right. Who?
Stan found
Calvin
the pen.
Phillips.
What? No, seriously.
You were safe earlier. You were safe earlier, but Stan
you and Tony on the same strain. Yeah, which
Yeah.
color pen do you want? Do
3
you want
pens.
all 3 colors?
Take your pick, Lawrence.
Red one. Red one.
How many lists are you going to put me on?
All 3 of them. You
know,
joined Tony on that list.
You look too serious there. That's
All
scary.
right. Colonel Ward, genuine question. Why is Ramsdale worth less than what Chelsea paid for Robert Sanchez, 28 million? If he goes under 20, Arsenal's transfer dealings need questioning.
It's because he wants a fucking starting position in the Premier League. That's why.
He's a starting goalkeeper.
But Arsenal have negotiation negotiating position here. They don't need to just give him away for 15 or less. You know,
Well, we
Hold out.
gave Leno away for 7, right? Come on.
We give Len away for less than that, but that won't happen this time, Tony. Okay, I would go for Paulinho from Fulham as your midfielder. Some people are talking about Bruno Guimaraes as your
Gummy bears.
midfielder, and Zubimendi is another one. Zubimendi's gone kind of quiet from Sociedad.
Yeah, I think he's he doesn't want to leave.
If
He's
you-
in Spain,
if-
is it? So
Yeah, Spain.
Yeah.
If we're a big club, Gary, we'd just go to Fulham, go down to the college, and slap some money down on the table there.
Tony
Tony,
was always going to play.
he's
Look at
shocked.
Tony's
Look at
face.
him.
He's like, "What the
Tony's
hell was
shocked.
that?"
God.
Well, you have
Ooh.
to get Tony to agree with you next.
Yeah,
Right?
that's right there.
That's the
Yeah.
next thing you need to do, Stan. Go back and get Tony to agree to that comment, Stan.
You look
Tony,
good, mate.
Tony's still like, what happened?
It's
What
just-
just happened?
You get all shy.
No.
Gosh, that's,
That's the most quiet he's
it's-
been
I
on
know
the show.
exactly. His tongue is tongue-tied.
Stan,
Oh,
could you
God.
just explain to him what just happened? Because he doesn't.
Oh,
He's gone dark on that.
The lights are out in Oklahoma. There's been a power cut.
we found his Achilles heel.
Okay, we know what works now.
Bit of a master stroke.
Yeah.
We
there,
know what
Stan.
works.
Secret weapon. You had to really go there. Go to the secret weapon.
Yeah, I had to get the kryptonite.
Yeah. Exactly. The kryptonite out. Where's Alonso? You know, he's battle hardened against Gary. Gary has no longer got an impact on Tony anymore. All right, who's going to be our midfielder?
Here's the thing,
Calvin
right?
Phillips.
Do you pay
You know
the
what?
100
You
now?
know what, Lawrence, please,
Calvin Phillips.
please. Did you
Here's the
have
thing,
dinner?
right?
I think I know what it is. You
Yeah,
have dinner or something. You didn't have.
Well, we got about
Had it a
5 more
couple of
minutes
hours.
here. 5
If
more
Arsenal,
minutes.
if Arsenal want Bruno Gummy Bears, they can go there tomorrow and activate the release clause. If they wait till that release clause finishes, then they're going to go up against City.
You know what?
And it's a harder sell.
There
But
is.
if you go now
Yeah.
and pay the money, you get him, right?
Yeah. There's no striker that you could put down 100 mil for that's going to give us the same influence on our game.
Isak.
Bruno Gramage. He's not
Isak.
100. He's not 100.
Isak.
He's not available. How many more? What else do you want me to say?
Everyone's got a price.
No.
Yeah, we're not paying that
Not
price
available.
for Isak.
Ted DiBiase said that. So,
Tony's
I'm saying,
composing himself.
I think you know
I had
what?
to go
I
let
think
the dogs in, right? That's what I had to do.
no.
I'm not like Gary.
Welcome back,
Tony, it was so convenient that you just
Are you still
go
blushing?
let the dogs
Who let
in
the
or whatever.
dogs in?
You let the dogs in.
I-
There
I'm
you
not
go.
blushing.
Tony, I've never
It's-
seen you blush. Tony, I've never ever seen you blush before, ever.
It's my suntan, Stan.
Yeah,
Face
Yeah,
the
it's just
confused.
yeah,
No, it
alright,
is.
whatever.
it's
It
bloody
is.
white.
Yeah.
It's
No.
the same color. Same color.
Bruno
Look.
Gamage will make a immediate impact, just like when we saw Partey come into the midfield.
Yeah.
It lightened the load on Rice, and it'll do the same thing if we bring Gamage in. So why not? You know, if we
It's
have
got-
the best, think about it. We'll have the best back line,
The
right?
Brazilian.
We'll have a
connection.
midfield very, very, very strong.
Yeah.
Potentially competing for
Jeez.
tops in the
Dude,
league. And then it's just
but-
a matter of filling in holes up the top, all right?
If we do sign Bruno Gummy Bears, there has to be one caveat. On his first day at Arsenal on the training pitch,
punches Jorginho in the face.
No, he has to stand still, and Kai Havertz is allowed to run past him and elbow him in the head, and then we're good.
And then Jorginho after that.
And Jorginho follows it up, and then we're good.
Chelsea.
Yeah,
the Chelsea connections. Yeah, and then the Brazilian contingent can welcome him in Portuguese, as we've seen them. I think I saw Bruno welcoming Martinelli and
question:
Gabriel
if you could only have one from Newcastle, Isak or Gummy Bears, who are you taking? I'm taking Isak. So.
Isak.
Yeah.
Isak.
I think that's
to win the title, Stan. We need both. It's not an either or question. We need both.
I think we could find another midfielder that could
win
help.
the title, Tony. We need more firepower because although we won 28 games, there was 10 games that were less than satisfactory.
Yeah, but we need to strengthen the midfield
Tony,
Isak
is
right?
different gravy, mate. He's different gravy, that geezer. He's different gravy.
You need both. So is
Revives.
Gummy Bears. So is Gummy Bears. We turned him down for
and
32
he also
million.
has a partnership with Martin Odegaard because they played together, didn't they, at Real Sociedad? They have an understanding that, you know, he's the one. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't.
That's why Gramage is the better option because he's more actually feasible. It's actually an option we can definitely go for, and we don't have to.
They both need to be an option.
Good. If Havertz hadn't had that little, you know, what he did towards the end and the numbers that he got, then I think they would push it for Isak. But I think Havertz allows them now to pivot, spend less on someone like a Sesko or a Xerxes, which frees up maybe money for something else.
Yeah.
Should we do that though? Would you want them to spread it around, or would you rather go just fuck that shit and go with Isak? You know, get it.
Spread it around.
So it's two ways.
When you look at our squad, Stan, there's at least 5 or 6 players, if not more than that.
Yeah, we need some depth. But Isak, fuck me.
We need bringing the depth. We need bringing the depth up, the squad depth to a higher level.
We need to do both, right?
Gary always says there's levels to this, and we need
Kadiaglu,
Arsenal's bottom level to be better.
That Kadiaglu defender guy that we were supposed to have put a bid in for that got rejected. Kadiaglu, Turkish defender. I don't know.
Well, we got to be at a point where we have starters off the bench.
Yes.
Instead, I think Stan went a little bit too deep saying we were playing these like third in the depth guys as starters. I don't think that was necessarily true, but we definitely got to strengthen the quality of
Eddie Nketiah is for Arsenal. I don't think Eddie Nketiah for me is or Reece Nelson are what I would call backup players. For me, they're third string.
Yeah,
being given the mantle of second string.
Yeah.
When I compare our competition and look at what they call second string, and I look at Eddie Nketiah, it's not even close. Teabag, who I love, who I would love to adopt,
not
working out. It's not happening, is it? It's not working. It's not working out. Who else is there? Cedric Suarez. Do me a favor. He just walked out of the club. That's what we were looking at. Emil Smith Rowe can't get a look in. Can't seem to fit into the team. You know, our bench is mager. It's a Jamaican word for weak. I don't know why I said that. I don't know where that came from. I said that in years. But fuck knows where that came from. But it's
when you feel it, Stan. When you really feel it, it's when it comes out.
Who have we really got that can make a difference off the bench?
That's why we're 10 plays short. Again, I've said that number many times, and we're back there again. 10 players short.
What?
Gary give a power of 10.
You know what's important about that, Gary?
You can name 10 players that
John is right there.
One that he won't even play, and he won't play or out or on the way out anyways. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
could you imagine we're always 10 players short?
Could you imagine Jesus with his attitude and his approach to the game, but with Aubameyang's skill? Because Aubameyang had a shit attitude, but if you had, you know what I'm getting at? That's the difference, right?
Yeah.
As much as Jesus tries, he ain't going to get the numbers that Aubameyang got.
No, he'd have to play till he's 46 or maybe the same time we're selling Ramsdale.
Why did we ever move up to 400 grand on him a week? Plus his 40,000 goal a week bonus.
He doesn't play for us anymore. I don't care.
It's fucking insane though.
He's not here.
Insane money.
We don't talk. He's not here anymore.
So when Gary says we need 7 or 8 players, we've been saying that for a few seasons, but the reason is because we've gone from 8th place to 5th. We needed 8 more players to get to a challenge in the title.
But also some of the players that we've gathered along the way, their expiry date is now done. We've outgrown them. We've outgrown Tierney. We've outgrown Zinchenko. Maybe Jesus, Eddie. We've got to roll over.
Yep. It's a continually evolving monster, and that's what we want. We want to enjoy that monster for the next 3, 4, 5 seasons. It's got to happen next season. The Arsenal journey's been great. We really enjoyed winning games and talking about the majority of the games being good weekends, not like Manchester United getting pasted up and down the countryside of the country, 3 and 4-0. Yes, they had their day out. They beat a Man City team that I think is slowly declining, and Arsenal are slowly growing, and these coming weeks, we'll see who we get in the house these coming weeks.
And look, the difference between somebody like a Mikel Arteta and an Arsene Wenger, if Mikel Arteta was in charge of Arsenal when we were putting in a bid for Luis Suarez, Mikel Arteta wouldn't have just gone £1 over the asking price. Mikel Arteta doesn't give a fuck about spending money because it ain't his money.
He'd blow it out of the water.
He would have got Suarez, whereas Arsene Wenger was acting like it was it's actually coming out of his own pocket.
Yeah,
penny pinching. We're in that place now.
Well, what do you expect?
And the reason I'm saying that is that we're going to have a lot of money to spend. The money that we've made from the Champions League, the money that we've made from the position in the league, we only earned 200 grand less than City, who won it, and then potential money that we will bring in from selling players if we can. We can drop another 100 on a player.
But
and an 80 on a player, rather than spending like 200 million on 5, 6 players, we could spend like maybe that sort of money on 3 players. But these are 3 players that are fucking quality. No more Cedrics, no more Lokongas, Marquinhoses, just tucking, bolstering and fattening out the fucking pillow or whatever you want to call it. We'll bring in players that could be
like right?
More Declan Rices that will come into the squad and you'll be like, wow, I can see how we're playing different because of this one player. Yeah. This is different. We only brought in this one guy, and look at that. Timber could be one of those as well. So that's where we're shopping now.
Yep. And dominance, right? Mikel Arteta wants dominance, and you're right. I mean, Arsene Wenger did a lot for Arsenal in the first 10, 12 years, but then he became about the move from Highbury to the Emirates, which is not an easy move, but it became about dismantling a team.
Also, Mikel Arteta has made the owners feel very easy because they went out and they wrote a check for Declan Rice, and there's no guarantees. And look at him. The guy could be captain material. That's got to make the owners more confident in that Edu and Mikel know what they're doing. We'll write the checks.
Yeah.
There's none of no. It's not. They're looking over at Chelsea and seeing the money that they've spent on players, and it hasn't worked out. They're looking at Anthony. They're looking at Caicedo. They're looking at Mudryk. They look at Mikel Arteta, and it's like, okay, this guy seems to be the checkbook's going to be open.
And look, we hate the fact that it came down to a kick of a football here and there. We didn't win the league, but for a kick of a football, either for us or against City, didn't go our way at the end of the day. Man City have bullied the majority of these teams for years, where they don't even try anymore to put a side out. We've had Aston Villa put half a side out, or not a very strong side. They roll up the white flag for Man City. Arsenal are heading in that direction where we're going to be bullying teams in the coming seasons, I believe. And we've had 10 bad days, and we're going to bring in some players who are going to give us some more firepower going forward to get us to 29 or 30 wins. We just missed out on that 90-point mark as well, Tony. So, we will see. Any final thoughts on what we talked about tonight before we sign off here? Highlighted the show was Tony getting very much speechless there about 10 minutes
I
ago.
didn't get speechless. I had to let my fucking dog.
Yeah,
my
yeah.
dog go.
We'll go with that. Go with that. You know, as your attorney, yep, I would say you. Yep,
I just want to. I want to answer Chris's last question. Misfit's last question. There, he says, "Don't forget, Arteta wanted Mudryk, a totally unproven player, for a ridiculous amount of money." My answer to that is, did he really? Or was he just drawing Bowley in?
Was Mudryk another project?
I'm going with that narrative that it was all a big plan. It was all interwoven to suck Chelsea into Caicedo and Mudryk.
Todd Bowley.
That's what helps me go to sleep at night, believing
Look
that.
what's happening at Chelsea. I mean, they have signed up every player for 6-7 years. They're hamstrung for best part of 5 or 6 years.
I think one of their players was on a 9-year contract. 9 years, 9.
And
that's a decade.
They've got to get rid of some of those players so that they can fall underneath the profitability and sustainability rule. Otherwise, they're fucked.
Yeah, and other teams will know their situation as well. So Arsenal might not be the only one in the Premier League who have difficulty offloading players. Those Chelsea players will be on high wages as well. So if you're not performing well in the league, if Pochettino's not getting a tune out of these players, they're going to find it very difficult. And Todd Bowley's going to have to write off some contracts.
Also, as well, I believe in players' wages. Like now that we're in the Champions League, I think players get bonuses, right? You have a thing in your way. If you don't qualify for stuff, you lose percentage of your wages.
It's
there is like a fiscal punishment for it. We're aiming finishing the Champions League. You're on 180 grand a week, but if we don't finish in the Champions League, you might take a 5% reduction in your salary or 10% or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of our players have had their wages a slight bump because we're achieving. We're qualifying for stuff, and they're saying you're earning your living. You are earning your living. You're doing what we've asked you to do.
Yep. And the Arsenal team remain hungry as well. Colonel Ward's asking, is Gary okay? He looks like he's lost a tenner and found the pound. And this is the Tony it's the Tony effect, Colonel. It's the Tony effect.
Lost a tenner.
I feel like you've gone 10 rounds, Gary.
I'm fine. Tony's not that big of a challenge.
Are you sure?
Not challenge at all.
Here we go. You have to go there.
Tony's BDS.
Hey, look, you brought the big guns, dude.
Tony is BDS.
You brought the big guns. You brought like he was holding that card in his pocket. He said, "Let me just put it out there." And Tony went running. Yeah, let the dogs out.
He did. I go, let the dogs. Who let the dogs in?
Sorry, Gary. I go take care of my dogs when I need taken care of.
Go with that story. I like it.
All right.
We can sell that one to the jury. I know it.
Poor Gator.
All right. Thanks, Lawrence, for being here. Tony, it's been entertaining.
Emotional.
Again. It's been emotional, indeed. Yeah, Tony came in like a wrecking ball and went out very shy. What was that, Stan?
I said coming in like Miley Cyrus.
Yeah,
like
a wrecking ball and left very quickly. He had to let the dogs in. That's the story.
Tony, your things were so bad. My missus had to have a word.
Do I need to go in reverse and see?
And she knows, even she knows, Tony, that Saliba was always going.
No, he wasn't. Listen, it's not like I made this shit up.
Dan, can we run it back, Stan? No.
Say good night, Tony.
Good night, Tony.
If you want to go.
Good night, Gary.
Good night, Tony.
Marseille.
Good night, Stan.
Good night, Tony.
Take care. 3, 2, 1.
Listen to